What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
6PQ. Chapter 126 Rayleigh's News. Please subscribe. Advertisement. We're back at the Seadi Archipelago again. We've only been away for less than a day. These guys must have been crazy when we left, but now we're back. Looking at the Seadi Archipelago under his feet, Yang Feng really doesn't want to say anything. He just left by boat yesterday and is back here today. This is simply speechless to the extreme. But as soon as we came back. Yang Feng went straight to Shaki's rip-off bar and pushed open the door. Huh, didn't you guys leave already? Why did you suddenly come back? Shaki was confused when he saw the people coming in. Didn't these guys just leave? Because they left, many young people came to his bar. As a result, he made a lot of money. Why are you back now? We are here to find Rayleigh. Where are the others? Just ask him for a favor. After speaking, Yang Feng looked around and finally found Rayleigh squatting in the corner like a homeless man. Barrow, let those 4 little girls out, they should be scared by now. After saying that, Barrow immediately let Hancock and the others go out, while the little girls looked around with puzzled faces. No, that's not good, it's the leader of the Invisible Empire and all things connected. Haven't they already left here? Why are they suddenly back? Everyone, run away. Everyone who saw this scene was stunned. What was he trying to do? The front foot just walked away and the back foot came back up. You can leave if you want, but keep your money, otherwise you will wait to be killed by the people from the Invisible Empire. I won't be able to save you after that. Shaki shouted angrily at the many people who wanted to escape. Everyone was scared to death. This was simply a life-threatening situation. They immediately put down all their money and ran away without daring to make any mistakes. Haha, this time it's a big profit. You are indeed my lucky star. Shaki said happily while counting the money, while Yang Feng just smiled. What is an invisible empire? Advertisement. Can spontaneity help your relationship grow? Inspire. The 4th child, who looked confused, asked if they knew what the Invisible Empire was. After all, they had been captured as slaves during this period. It's nothing, it's just my power. Even if I tell you now, you don't know. You will know it later. After saying that, Yang Feng led a few people to Rayleigh and yelled at Rayleigh, waking Rayleigh up from his sleep. It's you, kid. I thought who dared to disturb my old man's sleep. What's wrong? He just left and came back. Do you miss this place? Rayleigh said with a nonchalant expression. No, I just want to ask you to help me send these little guys to Amazon Lily. I just got them from the Celestial Dragons. He didn't want to hide anything about Rayleigh, and he had no need to hide anything. Where are the Celestial Dragons? It wasn't enough for you to kill 2 Celestial Dragons last time. You even went to find trouble with the Celestial Dragons. Aren't you afraid that the world government will get angry? Rayleigh was startled and asked immediately. What are you afraid of? This time I freed all the slaves in the entire Holy Land. In addition, I also looted all the Celestial Dragons' treasure troves. Even the world government's treasure troves were not spared. I didn't expect that Roger got 4 pieces of red. One of the stones is also there. Yang Feng shook his head as he spoke, while Rayleigh's eyes widened more and more. He realized that he was nothing compared to the kid in front of him. He had stolen the hometown of world government. Who knows what he did? What big things can happen if someone is unhappy? You are really serious. I guess your reward will be increased again. You even ransacked world government's hometown. I have to say that you are really powerful. Just leave these little girls to me. I will take care of them. They sent it back to 9 Snakes Island. After saying that, Rayleigh took a sip of wine depressedly. The news that Yang Feng brought to him this time was really shocking, but he spoke again soon because he got some information. I recently got some information about the Fishman Island. Sherlock Linlin and Whitebeard's people met at the Fishman Island. People on both sides want to take over the Fishman Island. It's estimated that it won't take long. A war is about to begin, and Jack the Drow under Kaido went to the Fishman Island for some unknown reason. Now the Fishman Island is a big Uzumaki. Rayleigh said while drinking wine. And Yang Feng was suddenly stunned. They knew very well why Sherlock Linlin and Whitebeard needed the Fishman Island. One was to get dessert, and the other was because Neptune was his old friend, so they met him. One Piece. Advertisement. 0 Please ask for flowers. But he couldn't understand Jack the Drow. Is this guy sick? Kaido should be negotiating with Doflamingo instead of these guys, so he was confused. Of course, I have to say that Jack the Drow is also an incredible existence. In the original book, this guy dared to collide with the warships of Sengoku and Fujitora at will just to save Ming-jae. So I have to say that this guy is brave enough. Although Sengoku's combat effectiveness has declined, it is still an admiral level. Needless to say, Fujitora, so both have admiral level combat effectiveness. Under such circumstances, Jack the Drow dared to hedge. This situation shows that the whole person is either overconfident or an idiot, but in the end he failed. Oh, all the strong men's men are concentrated on the Fishman Island. I see that he is the only one around you. The others have gone to the Fishman Island. You'd better go there and have a look. Rayleigh reminded kindly. That's right, we should go and have a look. Once Whitebeard's subordinates are injured, he, as a father, will naturally take action. In this case, they are indeed not the right match against Yhwach. Yang Feng thought for a while and then nodded. It was impossible to defeat Whitebeard just by relying on Gerard. Whitebeard was now in his prime, and the hidden wounds on his body had not occurred. So in Yang Feng's opinion, only Barrow can compete with Whitebeard. Then I'll leave these little girls to you. Send them back to Nine Snakes Island. As for those devil fruits, you don't have to look for them. Just keep an eye on them for me. I'll leave first. After speaking, Yang Feng did not wait for the reaction of the 4 young men behind him, and left Shaki's rip-off bar with Barrow, diving directly into the seabed to go to the Fishman Island. Did he leave again? But it will probably take a long time before he appears again this time. After speaking, Rayleigh turned his attention to a few little girls. Chapter 127. The Wind and Cloud meeting the Fishman Island. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Yang Feng and Barrow rushed all the way to the Fishman Island. At this moment, the Fishman Island was already bustling with activity. Several forces gathered here, turning the Fishman Island into a battlefield-like existence. Otahime, do you think humans are really reliable? Except for my good friend Whitebeard, everyone else is ambitious, and even Whitebeard may not be able to control it this time. As the king, Neptune looked at his wife in Longdong City and said, Jack the Drow, one of the 3 disasters under Kaido, has arrived, Cracker, one of the generals under Sherlock Linlin, and the 3 captains under Whitebeard. Of course, the most important thing is that the ship with the Invisible Empire logo also landed on the Fishman Island yesterday. It can be said that except for some people who like to travel alone or are still busy, everyone in New World has sent people here. 713. Your Majesty, don't worry. Whitebeard is known as the strongest man in the sea after Roger, and Whitebeard is famous for protecting our enemies. Since he promised to protect us, the Fishman Island, he will definitely do it. Furthermore, Phoenix Marco, Diamond Josie and Foil Beast are all here. If something goes wrong with his son, Whitebeard will naturally appear. He should be near the entrance of the New World Garden. Otahime is a smart person, so she naturally knows what is going on, and will analyze it clearly, and with Whitebeard as their backing, they will naturally not worry about other beings. I am worried about its power. The only thing I am worried about is the people of the Invisible Empire. This empire has just emerged. Although it does not even have a place to station, it has to be said that it is a very terrifying existence. Even Marine has suffered a loss. Quote. The only thing Neptune is worried about is the Invisible Empire and his team. After all, there is a bug like Hero Garp in Marine, but even this bug is now beyond their control. You can imagine how strong the people in the Invisible Empire are. Everything will pass. Your Majesty, you should take a rest first and leave other matters to me. Otahime felt very sorry for Neptune and persuaded Neptune that they could not bear such pressure. No matter how distressed they were, it would not help, so they might as well let nature take its course. Maybe the difficulty would be solved soon. Advertisement. I know, but as a king, I, Neptune, cannot let my people down. No matter how unbearable it is, I must carry on. After all, I am the king. I have to say that Neptune is a qualified king who thinks about his subordinates and people in everything. Let's go, it's time to go out and meet them. After all, as a king, I can't let my princess face this alone. It just so happens that the people from the other 2 major forces have just arrived. If Marco and the others are pushed out, they may be able to temporarily save us. Neptune said with his huge body and slowly walked out. Although he was said to be a fishtail, he could still walk. Soon Neptune came to the main hall of Longdong City, and at this moment there were several people already gathered here. Let me tell you too, this is the territory of our Whitebeard pirates after all. What on earth do you want to do? Marco looked at the 2 waves of people opposite him with an evil smile and asked. The first wave was naturally the 3 generals under Sherlock Linlin, no, Cracker, one of the 4 generals, and Baron Eggman and Sherlock B.U. Bud. On the other side is a bunch of people who look like bandits. Generally speaking, this group of people can be regarded as real pirates. They have a tough look all over their bodies. This group of people is naturally Jack the Drow and his men. Mom needs the pastries from the Fishman Island, so you, the Whitebeard pirates, should be obedient and hand over the ownership of the Fishman Island. With Mom's blessing, you are much better off than you, the Whitebeard pirates. Cracker said expressionlessly, but this guy is a biscuit fruit user, and this appearance is just the shell of a biscuit. No matter what you guys want to do, Lousy's only idea is to fight with you. It would be better if it triggers a war between Whitebeard and Sherlock Linlin. Old Lady Shizo likes this kind of war. Cracker's idea is very simple, he just needs pastries, and Jack's idea is also very simple, he just wants to provoke a war. After all, this guy is the one who dared to attack the ship carrying Sengoku and Fujitora, and he escaped unscathed. I really can't communicate, but this is the territory of our Whitebeard pirates. It's too early for you to start a war with our Whitebeard pirates. Advertisement. Marco said with a funny look on his face. The original work has too many flaws because the Whitebeard pirates appeared too early. The setting of the Whitebeard pirates will be strengthened here, that is, several of the captains have admiral-level combat power, that's it. Then let's fight. I thought I didn't need to fight, but this time it seems I can't help it. Mom will be very angry if there is no dessert, and we can't bear it once she gets angry. Cracker said and pulled out his sword. He didn't want to be complained by his mother. The aunt's character was extremely cruel. Once she wavered in front of him, she would be killed by the twitching lifespan. Only Jinbei has no fear in front of her, so he has not lost any lifespan. Ha 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 ha. Let's fight, it will be lively once the fight starts. Jack the Drow burst out laughing immediately. Their character is similar to Kaido. Basically, they are fearless existences, so they wish for the world to be in chaos. Assholes, these guys are all bastards. Josie, if there is a fight later, you will be responsible for Jack the Drow, I will be responsible for Cracker, and Beasta, you will be responsible for protecting Neptune and the others. Marco is not happy with the behavior of these two madmen. 4.9 What can I say? One wants the Fishman Island, but he can't give it to him. The other wants a war, which will start soon. It's still troublesome. He's going to die. Haha, it's so lively. Can we, the people from the Invisible Empire, join in the fun? Just as the three parties were at war with each other, a playful voice came into everyone's ears, and then everyone saw a man dressed like a Roman soldier walking in with several people dressed in pure white behind him. Trouble, the miraculous power of the Invisible Empire, the blasting angel, and the immortal duo, these guys are not easy to deal with, but it is acceptable for them to come to the Fishman Island. After all, this is the road to the New World. In Marco's opinion, they came here just to enter the New World from here. Chapter 128. Surprise Neptune, please subscribe. Advertisement. No, there are two people missing. The leader of the Invisible Empire, Yang Feng, and the All Things Connectivity are not here. This is good news. Marco breathed a sigh of relief after taking a closer look at a few people, but he still couldn't let go of his guard. After all, the strength of these guys was no less than his own, and they were all at the admiral level. But what Marco doesn't know is that the strength of Barrow and Gerard, one of the four major guards, is not comparable to them. There are naturally people who can completely torture Gerard at this stage, and Whitebeard is one of them. Whitebeard, who was in his prime, had extraordinary combat capabilities. He was not the Whitebeard who was injured all over his body, was terribly old, and was stabbed by his own son, but the Whitebeard who had the strongest combat capability on the sea. There are also a few big pirates who can completely torture Gerald. These are the aloof Reds, but these guys don't compete with others for fame and fortune, and they are all loners. However, these people have begun to be slowly eliminated by Marine. As long as Garp takes action, these big pirates will basically not be able to escape. After all, Garp's current strength is not weak. If you have a party, we are indispensable, so are you going to start now? I can't wait any longer. Gerald said with a smile on his face. This guy is always so confident. His goal here is the devil fruit from the Fishman Island. Getting these devil fruit is naturally the first goal. But it seems that no one will criticize him if he doesn't show his strength. The people from the Invisible Empire are also here. The Fishman Island is really lively this time, so let's make a fuss. The bigger the fuss, the better, and the happier we will be then. Jack the Drow still kept fanning the wind and lighting up will-o'-the-wisps, just to make several parties fight. Wait a minute, everyone, please be patient. I am not responsible for the fact. As soon as Neptune came out, he saw the confrontation between several groups of people. He was so frightened that the fish's tail softened, and then he quickly rushed over. It's King Neptune, so let's leave our issues to King Neptune. After all, he is the master of this place. Advertisement. Marco's eyes lit up after seeing Neptune. He didn't want to fight, at least not here. He was not afraid of Cracker and Jack. After all, he had Josie and Beasta on his side, and their fighting power was not weak. But what he was worried about was the Invisible Empire. Even Marine's strong lineup failed in the end. To be honest, he really didn't know what to say. That's right, leave this matter to me. Each of you can state your own needs. I will try my best to satisfy them if I can, but if it is beyond my capabilities, please forgive me for not being able to satisfy them. Neptune couldn't help it. Although he was a king, this so-called king was nothing in front of these powerful men. The reason why they let him make the decision was that they needed a balance point. My request is not too much. I just need to give me your dessert factory. Mom has been eyeing the Fishman Island desserts for a long time. Cracker said with a rebellious look, as if the dessert factory belonged to them, but it's not a big deal because they are pirates. It's natural for pirates to steal things. No, the dessert factory is the Fishman Island's main source of income. If we give it all to you, the Fishman Island's daily expenses cannot continue. Maybe we will no longer be able to produce candies. Neptune naturally refused to agree. Once he agreed, the entire Fishman Island would fall into a slow death stage. And there is no Fishman pirate group yet, so he would not agree. Is it a money issue again? If you can't produce desserts, we will also be implicated, so there will be no problem in selling all your desserts to us. Cracker also knows that he cannot kill the goose to obtain the eggs, otherwise no one can restrain his mother from going crazy. If that's the case, it'll be fine. Neptune breathed a sigh of relief, having finally solved one party. It's so boring. Lousy's request is very simple, fight. Advertisement. Jack was even more simple and rude, but this request was ignored directly. Neptune is not afraid that Jack dares to get angry now. If you have the guts to post it, people on both sides here are leaning towards me. If you dare to make a move, you will die. Our request is very simple, devil fruit. There should be devil fruit in your Longdong city. In exchange, we can grant you 3 unconditional opportunities to take action. Of course, it depends on the quantity of devil fruit. If the quantity is too small, it can only be done once. Gerald stated his conditions. Such conditions are almost like a free hand, but it also depends on who uses them. In the hands of strong men like them, this is not called a free hand. In order for the other party to make a lot of money, their biggest reliance is their own strength. Strength speaks for itself. It should have been a waste of money, but now Neptune feels that it is really worth it. Devil fruit is of no use to the merfolk. Murlocs and mermaids cannot stay on the shore all the time. They are always creatures in the water, so no one goes back to eat devil fruit. So devil fruit is just a pile of waste to them, but such waste is very valuable outside. They can salvage it at any time in the sea, and they have saved a little over time. We still have 11 devil fruits in 557 Longdong City. 2 of them are Logia fruits, one is Logia union fruit, the other is Logia mumu fruit, and the others are zones. Neptune's eyes lit up and he said it directly. Very good, 11 pieces, in exchange for 3 opportunities for our invisible empire to attack unconditionally. You have to think clearly before talking about it. There is no limit on the time. This is my phone bug. After speaking, Gerald handed his phone bug to Neptune. At this moment, Neptune felt pleasantly surprised. Whitebeard was covering his island, and Sherlock Linland's people naturally wouldn't go crazy for the dessert factory, and even protect yourself. The invisible empire now has 3 more unconditional opportunities to take action. This is a super win that even Marine cannot win, so he feels that he has made a lot of money this time, which is a great surprise. You bastards, how dare you ignore Lousy? Jack, who had been staying aside for a while, finally broke out. His character was that he was not afraid of death and would not flinch even if he knew he would die. He was just like Kaido, but he was not as exaggerated as Kaido. No, this B********** D is going to transform here. Marco's expression changed when he saw Jack's outburst. Chapter 129, Ancient Species vs. Phantasmal Beast Species. Please subscribe. Advertisement. B**********D. B********* D. You bastards, even if you die, Lousy will destroy this place today. Jack the Drow exploded directly, and his strength instantly climbed to a peak, and his body began to grow, and in an instant he turned into a terrifying ancient mammoth with a height of 100 meters. Roar. Jack, who transformed into a giant mammoth, roared instantly, and the earth began to collapse. The huge body appeared in Longdong City, and even the fishmen and mermaids outside could see it. What is this? Why does it appear in Longdong City? Jack the Drow's huge transformation is a super giant in the eyes of everyone, and such things are obviously not sea kings. There are several kilometers of super sea kings around the Fishman Island. These are all leftover from the cold winter of Poseidon. No, I don't know what happened in Longdong City. Lousy must go in and take a look. Fishman Tiger looked at this scene with a serious face. The Fishman Island is his hometown, and he cannot allow any problems to arise on the Fishman Island. Brother, let me go with you. Although I am not strong enough, I can always help a little. A young blue-skinned whale shark man spoke. No, Jinbei, your strength is still too weak. They should be the group of pirates who went in before, and the only pirate who can become like this is Jack the Drow. This is the subordinate of the big pirate Kaido, so you can't go through. After saying that, Tiger turned into a red afterimage and disappeared in front of Jinbei and others. Their current strength is not suitable to face such an enemy, not even Tiger, but he is the strongest here, so they can only bite the bullet. Damn it, I didn't expect that I would have such a powerless side. Jinbei looked at his hands and hated himself so much for being so weak that he already had the intention to become a strong man in his heart, and this intention also allowed him to slowly transform into the sea hero Jinbei. Zone is an ancient fruit, in the form of a mammoth, so I never want to fight with these ancient people. Such a body type is simply cheating. Looking at the giant mammoth 100 meters high, Marco honestly didn't know what to say. Okay Marco, aren't you also the phoenix form of the zone phantom beast species? The phantom beast species are rarer than the ancient species. If you lose, you will be embarrassed to see others. Josie joked on the sidelines that although this huge size is difficult to deal with, it is not impossible to pay. If they were just one of them, it would be extremely difficult to deal with it. Advertisement. But there are so many people here, it couldn't be easier to deal with a Jack. It's really troublesome, but it's better to deal with such a character as soon as possible. You can't wait, otherwise there will be no way to explain when Dad comes. Marco said, his hands turned into golden blue flames, and he quickly climbed away with his body. Go to hell. The huge mammoth didn't care about this. The ivory arched forward and instantly pierced Marco's body. How is it possible that he was stabbed in one face to face? Baron Eggman and Bree looked at Marco who was stabbed in front of him with dull expressions. What about the fierce fight they had promised? How could they be stabbed through in such a short time? Are you all idiots? Watch carefully, he is Marco the Phoenix, a zone phantom beast type user. He is not afraid of death. Cracker looked at the 2 people above expressionlessly and said, and at this moment Marco also slowly separated from the ivory. It was really painful, it just stabbed my chest right through. Marco said jokingly as he looked at the big hole in his chest. Hypocritical, how could you be injured as the phantom beast with the phoenix fruit? Keep fighting. Lousy doesn't believe that the phantom beast must be the strongest among zone. The strongest one should be Lousy's ancient species. Today Lousy let everyone in the world know that Lousy's ancient species is the strongest. Jack roared, and his 2 huge front legs suddenly lifted up and landed with a crash, directly trampling Marco down. Boom. Not only did the earth tremble, but a huge pit was stepped on where the giant elephant was, but Marco soon flew out of the pit. At this moment, his whole body was covered with golden blue flames, which were constantly repairing his body. It's really convenient that I'm big, but it made me look like this in an instant. To be honest, I've never suffered such a serious injury in just one face-to-face encounter. As he spoke, Marco's golden blue flames surged all over his body, and he turned into a phoenix in an instant. But why there are glasses on his eyes is worthy of scrutiny. Advertisement. Boom. The blue flames immediately burned the giant elephant's body. The blue flames can repair, but they can also destroy. This is Marco's unique skill. As a phantom beast, he is not afraid of any physical damage, except sea stone. Just like Logia, except that the attack range is not as wide as Logia. Ouch. B*********** D Marco. Quote. Jack will naturally feel pain after being attacked, but he still can't do anything to Marco. After all, Marco immune to death, and he is too big. Even if Marco exhausts his energy, he can only hurt him, not kill him. The two of them were trapped in an endless loop. At this moment, the Fishman island has been completely destroyed by the two of them. Joes, let's go help Marco, that guy's size problem is really too big. Beasta also spoke after seeing something was wrong. I know, let's go. After saying that, Josie's whole body turned into countless diamonds, with only one eye still intact. The whole person seemed to turn into a huge cannonball and rushed towards the mammoth's feet. Well done, bang. Josie used his indestructible body and the inertia he carried to directly knock the mammoth's feet away. The unbalanced mammoth fell directly to the ground. Foil sword. Beasta seized the opportunity to strike with his two swords. Countless petals surrounded his swords. Once he swung the sword, various petals would be drawn out. To be honest, it was a bit like Senbon Sakura. The two swords were directed towards the mammoth's abdomen. The two Sakura red slashing waves instantly hit the mammoth's abdomen with all-conquering power, leaving two large wounds on the abdomen. This guy is too big for me. If I cut off an ordinary zone like this, I would probably break it in half. Looking at the giant mammoth with only two wounds, Beasta couldn't help but sigh. It's so big that it's not afraid of being beaten. Chapter 130, Violent Jack, please subscribe. Advertisement. I want you three to die. After being beaten by a group, Jack was knocked down by Josie before he could react, and then he became like this. He was completely confused when he was attacked before, otherwise Beasta's attack would not be possible. It would be that simple and it would work. Boom boom boom. The huge mammoth kept rolling on the ground. Its body, which was originally up to 100 meters high in time, would bring a very powerful vibration every time it rolled, leaving a huge mark on the ground. It's really impossible to start. The size of this guy is really difficult. This time, let alone Marco and others, even Josie frowned. He couldn't knock such a huge mammoth away. The previous time, he took advantage of Jack's lack of attention and hit him. Feet. No, we can't let him continue like this. I will make my request now. Help me protect the safety of the Fishman Island within today. Neptune put forward his first condition. He originally planned to extend the time a little, but he didn't dare to gamble. What if people didn't agree? Then the problem would be big. 937. Very good, a good realization. Besides, I'm not very greedy. I will take over the Fishman Island today. You guys, please get out of my way. Gerald laughed and rushed out. To be honest, Neptune's request surprised him. He originally thought that Neptune would ask him to wait for others to take action, but he should just get rid of this guy. But I didn't expect that Neptune actually asked them to protect the Fishman Island within today. This is intriguing. Neptune probably doesn't trust the people on Big Mom's side, and the people on Whitebeard's side are limited in strength. So we can only turn to the Invisible Empire for help. Court death. Seeing Gerald rushing towards him, Jack swung his huge elephant trunk and immediately hit Gerald on the head, directly smashing Gerald into the ground, and Gerald looked very embarrassed, as if there was only one breath left. How is it possible? Isn't this guy the third most wanted? How can he be so vulnerable? Is it true that the so-called Invisible Empire is at this level? Marco and others looked at this scene with blank expressions. After all, although they knew about the power of miracles, they did not know what it actually represented. They thought it was just a nickname. Advertisement. Miracle. Gerald, who was lying in the pit, quickly told everyone what a miracle was with his actions. After a loud shout, countless white lights enveloped his body, and the intense white light blinded everyone. For a moment. How is it possible? How could it suddenly become so big? And it's not zones. What on earth is it? The 300-meter giant Gerald appeared in front of everyone again, and this time there was a reference object to remind Jack, the giant mammoth that was over 100 meters tall. At this time, Jack only reached Gerald's thighs. That's all. Size is strength. This is what I have always believed in. So little guy, it's my turn to attack this time. As he spoke, a cruel smile appeared on the corner of Gerald's mouth. His huge foot suddenly moved forward and kicked the mammoth. The giant mammoth immediately flew out uncontrollably, and then hit him hard. When we got to the ground, the hurricane was unbearable. It's just a battle between monsters. If we face this guy, we won't have to fight. Although he really didn't want to admit that he was weaker than him, Marco could only be realistic at the moment. It wasn't that he couldn't afford to lose, but he just felt a little uncomfortable. After all, the sudden appearance of several people stronger than him would make him feel uncomfortable. Boom. Huge roars continued to spread around, and at this moment, the giant mammoth seemed to have become a pet ABCE. It was carried by Gerald and kept hitting the ground, and soon started to fly in the forest. A huge pothole emerged. What's wrong? Weren't you very proud just now? Don't you want war? Now I'm giving you war, but you should stand up for me. Gerald kept stepping on the belly of the giant mammoth with his big foot and kept exerting force. Jack, who was oppressed by the huge force, naturally kept wailing. But at this moment, he did not dare to return to his original shape, otherwise he would probably turn into meat in no time. Bar. Mammoth cannon. In desperation, Jack's nose suddenly pointed towards Gerald, and a powerful gas spurted out, forming something like an air cannon, and hit Gerald's body with one cannon. You D, you dare to attack me, you are finally finished this time, ha 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 ha. Advertisement. Jack kept laughing wildly. Apart from Kaido, he had never seen anyone who could block his mammoth cannon. What are you talking about? Your attack is simply weak, but these two tusks of yours are good, and they are just a gift for His Majesty. As he spoke, Gerald didn't care about the horrified looks of others, and instantly grabbed the teeth of the giant mammoth with both hands, and gave it a strong force. Kacha. Two huge tusks broke apart directly, and many broken bones fell to the ground. Roar. Jack roared out in pain, he didn't even say anything, only howling like a beast. It's so scary. I used brute force to pull out both of Jack's tusks. Even my mother couldn't do it. 17. Looking at Jack, who had his tusks forcibly pulled out, Cracker was trembling all over at this moment. His strength was good, but the problem was that the opponent was too scary, so it was better to take it easy. But if my mother finds out about this guy, he will definitely want to marry them. Bree, who looks like a witch, said that they knew very well that their mother liked to find strong men to marry and form alliances with powerful forces. Sherlock Linlin provided more than 30 daughters and more than 40 sons. Including the foreigners, there are more than 100 in total, which is about the same as Whitebeard. Whitebeard makes people call him dad, while Sherlock Linlin makes people call her mother. However, she does not treat her children as well as Whitebeard treats his subordinates. No, maybe if my mother finds out, she will directly find him as her husband. I think this possibility is even higher. Baron Eggman said that such a strong man probably would not take advantage of his descendants, so Sherlock Linlin would only be able to fight in person. Okay, stop talking. The purpose of our visit this time is for the dessert factory. As long as the dessert factory is fine, that's enough. Cracker doesn't ask for anything more at this moment, just a dessert factory. Chapter 131 The Prelude to the Battle of Four Emperors. Please subscribe. Advertisement. The people of the Invisible Empire are really pervert. I thought they were doomed when I saw that scene before, but I didn't expect that they would become so huge so suddenly. Marco and others looked at Gerald, who suddenly grew huge and tortured Jack all the way, and said that Gerald's power is the power of miracles. In times of despair, miracles will definitely happen. This is the meaning of the power of miracles. Once the injury is serious, the power of miraculous reversal will naturally be more terrifying, so the real horror of the power of miraculous is here. Unless you kill him instantly and let his thinking break down, you can't kill him at all. Die. Or it could raise Gerard's endurance to a higher level, so that Gerard could no longer bear such miracles of injury transformation and would naturally die. Speaking of which, this guy Jack should be in bad luck this time. Maybe he will kill him directly. In this case, I'm afraid that guy Kaido will go crazy. Beasta put the two swords back into the scabbard and said, now they have no chance to take action, they will immediately wrap this guy up. After some wreaking havoc, Jack slowly returned to his original appearance. This man fought continuously for several days in Zou, and then attacked the warships carrying Sengoku, Fujitora and others, and destroyed 2 warships in one go. Then he returned to Zuowu and wanted to kill the Elephant Master, but the Elephant Master suddenly went berserk and severely injured him. He couldn't bear Gerald's brutality at this moment, so he simply didn't get seriously injured, and he didn't even have the physical strength to continue to maintain the mammoth form. It's really vulnerable. It's over in such a short time. You are still one of the 3 disasters. Do you mean that the strength of the 3 disasters is the same as yours? Seeing his opponent fall to the ground, Gerard's arrogant character was naturally exposed. His miraculous power comes from his confidence in himself, and confidence naturally leads to arrogance, and pride naturally leads to arrogance, so at this moment he is very looked down on Jack. Since it's useless, then please die. Gerald raised his huge foot again and stepped down hard on the unconscious Jack, but a black shadow suddenly appeared at his feet and punched Gerald's feet hard. Kacha. Advertisement. Gerald looked at this scene in disbelief. The severe pain in his feet told him that his feet had been broken. His huge feet had been broken. However, his injuries recovered after the power of miracle was activated again. This is the benefit of the power of miracle. As long as it does not exceed the limit, you can use it however you want, and you don't have to care about the so-called injuries and deaths. Jack has been beaten like this by you. By the way, you are a newcomer to the Invisible Empire. Lousy has also met that guy named Barrow and the brat named Yang Feng before. Jack is beaten like this by you. I really hate you. It's taken care of. The visitor said with a haughty look on his face, he was just Kaido. Gerald's leg was broken by his punch before. At this moment, his strength has risen to a terrifying level, although Gerald is at the same level as him. But if this continues, he is probably the one who will be completely abused. After all, Kaido is not Jack, and he does not have a huge size for him to attack. Although Kaido is also a giant, his agility completely surpasses Gerard. Kaido, it's Kaido, this crazy man is here, it seems like we're having more fun this time. The appearance of Kaido surprised everyone. After all, Kaido is one of the famous pirates in the New World. He has even challenged many other pirates, including Whitebeard and Sherlock Linlin. But this guy can't be killed at all. Whitebeard can shock him, but this guy can recover at any time just like Xiaoqiang, leaving Whitebeard with no choice. Mama Hand can't even do it. She originally planned to pull out his soul and eat it, but Kaido was not afraid of her at all and naturally would not waver, so her abilities were almost useless and she could only use Thunder Cloud, Zeus and Sun Prometheus to attack. But the result is also nonsense. Whitebeard is like immune to death, so she naturally has no choice. Sherlock and Linlin gave up the idea of killing this guy every time. If he kept fighting like this, she would be the one who died. Inform Dad, since something has happened to Kaido, we can't interfere. Marco shook his head helplessly. Before setting off, Whitebeard came with them and was nearby, but did not come over. He told them to call him directly if they encountered Kaido or Sherlock Linlin. Zero please ask for flowers. He also knew that Marco and others could not be Kaido's opponents at all. Advertisement. It can only be this way. Beasta said, taking out a phone bug from his arms, and quickly reported the situation here to Whitebeard. At this moment, at the entrance of New World to the Fishman Island, a huge fleet is parked here, and at this moment, there is a giant-like man on the front ship who is really holding a phone. Children, set out to support Marco and the others. This time Lousy will show Kaido what real power is. Whitebeard directly took his main combat subordinates onto the coated ships and quickly dived into the seabed. At the same time, Cracker's side naturally took action. They have contacted Whitebeard. I guess Whitebeard will arrive soon. Open the mirror world, Bree, and ask her mother and the others to come from the mirror world. It will be faster. Cracker looked at Bree next to him and said, I understand, but I can't hold on to the open space so far away for too long, and I can't be disturbed. Please pay attention to my safety. After saying this, Sherlock Bray took out a huge mirror, and activated his ability in front of the mirror, connecting Sherlock Linlin who was still in the world at this moment. Is it little Bree? I didn't expect that Whitebeard and Kaido have already passed by, so naturally I will be there, support me. After Sherlock Linlin finished speaking, she grabbed her Thundercloud Zeus and Sun Prometheus and rushed into the mirror world, rushing towards the Fishman Island. This time it was not just about eating dessert, it was also about fighting, so she didn't dare to be careless. After all, Whitebeard is still the overlord of the sea at this moment, not the old Whitebeard who will be ineffective later. Whitebeard at this moment is in his prime like Garp, and being called the strongest man in the world is no joke. Whitebeard rushes to the Fishman Island. Kaido has already confronted Gerald. Together with the ant who came from the mirror world, only Shanks is left among the four emperors. However, this is not a battle of four emperors, it should be regarded as a battle of four emperors. The prelude to the Battle of Ba Wan. Chapter 133. All the big shots are here, please subscribe. Advertisement. This is the Fishman Island. The scenery is pretty good, but it's a little small and a little monotonous. The mermaids born here are so tragic. There are people everywhere outside who are staring at them eagerly. For the mermaid race, it would be a tragedy within a tragedy if they lost the blessing of Whitebeard. Perhaps no one would appreciate the ugly appearance of mermaids, but mermaids are different. They are the best in the eyes of human traffickers. Murlocs and mermaids are two different races. Murlocs are like tiger, Arlong, and Jinbei, as if fish and humans have completely merged together, while mermaids are fish on the lower body and human on the upper body, just like what is often said about mermaids. So the mermaid is the most valuable. Who says it's not the case? Even Marine can't control these guys. Once the fishmen leave the Fishman Island without listening to the advice, they will be targeted by these guys. Garp said helplessly, is it really impossible to control it? I think you don't care about it at all, and you have no way to control it. These human traffickers are backed by celestial dragons. You Marines don't have the courage to control things like O1. Yang Feng complained unceremoniously that Marines were in charge of pirates, but they didn't dare to take care of these human traffickers, because there were celestial dragons behind them. Once the celestial dragons got angry, not to mention other Marines, even Sengoku would be in trouble. Ha 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 ha, you have seen through it, yes, because of the celestial dragons, we can't control it at all. I already took care of this kind of thing when I first entered the sea. If it weren't for Marshal Kong, I would have become you must be a traitorous Marine. Garp recalled one year and said that when he was young, his sense of justice was so strong that he would arrest any evil force he encountered. In one incident, he arrested a human trafficker, which made the celestial dragons angry. But after Marshal Sora's plea, he decided to let it go. Garp knew that this was because Sora valued his potential, otherwise he wouldn't have saved him at all. But at least he was saved, so Garp just kept going. Become a Marine. I didn't expect you to have such a dark history, but to be honest, Marine has been too decayed recently. Maybe even without our invisible empire taking action, you Marine will be finished in a short time. Yang Feng shook his head helplessly. Not everyone in Marine is righteous, but righteous people still account for the majority. Boom. Just when Garp wanted to speak, a domineering pressure suddenly rose from a distance. After that, the weaker people behind Garp fainted instantly, while the better school level officials were still holding on. But the situation is not very good. Advertisement. He's Kaido's Conqueror's Haki. He can use Haki casually in a place like this, but with his personality, he can do anything. I know Kaido Garp very well. Kaido is the kind of person who is not afraid of anything. Naturally, he will not worry about the people next to him. Conquerors just opened. It's better to go and take a look as soon as possible. If a few other people do the same thing, ordinary people will probably be crushed to death by them. Yang Feng was helpless. Conquerors was not only a physical deterrent, he could even crush ordinary people to death with coercion after practicing to ultimate. But if several big guys threw conquerors at the same time, few people would be able to survive. Conqueror's hockey is a deterrent. Since it can crush people to the point of fainting, it means that the person's nerves cannot bear it at all. But once this kind of coercion becomes extremely strong, most people will probably be crushed to death soon. They are all crazy people. I hope they don't start fighting here. If they start fighting, the Fishman Island will be gone. Garp immediately burst into foul language. Normally, people call him a mad dog, biting whoever he catches, but now there are times when he calls others crazy. Soon the two of them saw the battlefield. After all, Gerard's height of 300 meters stood there like a beacon. Anyone who was closer could see it clearly. That giant is your subordinate, right? He has grown so big on the Fishman Island, and he is not afraid of puncturing the air shield on it. Garp's mouth twitched as he looked at the giant who kept fighting with others. If it hadn't been for this guy, Marine wouldn't have failed last time. After all, although Barrow has recovered, he can only hold back against Garp in his heyday, because in the end Garp will not be able to use all his strength. Of course, Barrow also has a big move hidden. But Gerard was the main player in the last battlefield. He alone could stop Zephyr and an admiral if Yang Feng wanted to kill them. No one else except Kizaru and Garp would be able to escape. The person who made Gerard so big and was still in a tough fight must be Kaido, that crazy man. Hurry up and have a look. Yang Feng looked at Gerard who was slowly being forced back and said, and then several people rushed over quickly. Advertisement. At the same time, in Longdong City next to the battlefield. It's really interesting to see such a scene as soon as I come out. By the way, where is my dessert? Sherlock Linlin's first thing after coming through Bree's mirror world was not to pay attention to the battle, but to pay attention to the desserts. For her, having desserts is the best companion. Mom, here are the desserts. There are 10 tons in total, enough for you to enjoy. As early as when Sherlock Linlin came over, Cracker informed Neptune and asked Neptune to prepare the desserts. After all, Sherlock Linlin would not recognize his relatives if he went crazy. Desserts. Indeed, the Fishman Island's desserts are the most delicious. This kind of dessert is the best. Sherlock Linlin's huge body rushed to the dessert hill and started stuffing desserts into his mouth. All kinds of desserts seemed to have entered a bottomless pit, and it was impossible to tell where they went. Old witch, you still like to eat desserts so much, but if you eat on Lousy's territory, why don't you also say hello to Lousy? A voice that seemed to be carrying endless hockey sounded, resounding in everyone's mind like a bell ringing. It's Dad. Dad is finally here. Marco shouted excitedly. Things turned around as soon as Whitebeard came to explain. They were not afraid of Sherlock, Linlin and Kaido at all, not even the Invisible Empire. After all, Barrow and Yang Feng are not here. The strongest one here is Gerard, and Gerard is no longer a match for Kaido at this moment, being forced to retreat steadily by Kaido. Chapter 134 Whitebeard takes action. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Whitebeard. Yes, Whitebeard is here. The strongest man in the world after Roger is here. Except for the captain of Whitebeard's side, everyone else was shocked, including Bambietta and others. They were not Whitebeard's opponents. If there was only one Kaido, they should be able to win with all their strength in a group fight. But Whitebeard at this moment is Whitebeard at his peak, so naturally there is nothing he can do. As old man Whitebeard here too. But the Fishman Island will belong to me sooner or later. Now I can't compete with you. When you get old, this place will be our territory. Sherlock Linlin was also surprised when she saw Whitebeard, but if she thought about it carefully, Whitebeard had already entered an old age and would no longer be the strongest man in the world in a short time, so she only needed to delay. Boom. After Whitebeard's ship entered the Fishman Island, Whitebeard's fist shook. Suddenly, half of the Fishmen's space was filled with thunder and wind. This shows how terrifying Whitebeard's punch was. It's not unreasonable to be called the strongest man in the world. Compared with him, even Logia's strongest moves can't match his range of destruction. If he wanted to, he could even knock out the Fishman Island with one punch. Sunk. Looking at the cracks everywhere in the sky, Garp took a deep breath. He and Whitebeard were old friends. He not only hunted down Roger, but also hunted down Whitebeard and others. So he was called the Old Mad Dog, and he would catch anyone he saw, making all the big pirates helpless. Marine, except for Whitebeard, basically all the big pirates were no match for him, and they could only run away when they encountered him. And Garp was also chasing after him, which frightened many big pirates, but there was nothing they could do about Garp. Whitebeard, he is one of the few strong men in the sea now, and one of the strongest. His strength should be about the same as yours now. After speaking, Yang Feng looked at Garp. Indeed, his current strength is similar to mine and Barrow, but he and I are both old after all, and our physical strength will soon decline. Then it will be a different matter. Advertisement. After speaking, Garp took a deep look at Yang Feng. The rise of Yang Feng has become a general trend, a completely irreversible trend, unless the entire world government completely exposes its own background, but is this possible? What is this? A giant race. It's even bigger than Oz. After seeing Gerald, Whitebeard's first reaction was how big he was. Gerald was 300 meters tall at the moment, while Oz was only over 100 meters tall at most, so there was no comparison at all. As the other one beast boy. This little B*********** D is really haunting, but so what does it matter? Lousy as Whitebeard. Whitebeard's domineering declaration appeared again, and the blood of those who heard him boiled with excitement. Whitebeard, what are you doing here? Are you afraid of the safety of your sons? After Sherlock Linlin eliminated the desert hill in front of her, she turned her attention back to Whitebeard. In fact, she had always wanted to form an alliance with Whitebeard, but Hubert simply didn't want her. According to her idea, it would be great if she and Whitebeard got married. Although hers and the two of them were a little bigger, so what? There were so many weird things in this world. But who is Whitebeard? He is the strongest man in the sea, so naturally he will not agree to such nonsense, otherwise according to Sherlock Linlin's idea, their descendants will definitely be the strongest in the world. Old witch, you came here instead of staying at your cake island. You really have a lot of leisure time. Looking at Sherlock Linlin, Whitebeard said disdainfully, neither Kaido nor Sherlock Linlin is qualified to fight him now. The only ones who are qualified are the Golden Lion and Gu Gao Hong in their heyday. Golden Lion was a super strong player before the short leg. Wanting to take it down, it deployed two super fighters, Kadi and Sengoku. But this guy is ruthless enough. After going to prison, he cut off both of his legs and then rushed out of Impel Down. He can be said to be ruthless. As for the Lonely Red, he is a person and is called a person. His strength can rival Whitebeard and Roger. This man was arrested a few years before the plot started. I don't know if he is also old, but he ate bat fruit, just like a vampire. Is there such a theory? Advertisement. I'm here for dessert. As for you, you can fight me however you want. Sherlock Linlin said with a nonchalant expression. She was not an idiot, so she naturally knew that she could not fight against the current Whitebeard. You have to pay for dessert. Don't blame me for not reminding you. No one dares to eat for free in Lousy's territory. Whitebeard looked at Sherlock Linlin and said. We have given the money to King Neptune before, and these things are considered to be purchased by us. Quote. Cracker said immediately, and Marco and others also nodded. It can be said that Cracker has made all preparations and will not give Whitebeard a chance to get angry. Of course, Whitebeard will not get angry because of this little thing. Then let's deal with these two guys now. They dare to mess around in Lousy's territory. Do you really think that I, Whitebeard, don't exist? Kong Gen. Whitebeard's right fist condensed a white ball of light, and with a fierce swing, the space once again shattered like glass, and then a huge shock force surged out and blasted towards the two of them. In his prime, Whitebeard was so terrifying with one punch. The ground shook with his punch, and even Gerald and Kaido, who were fighting, were blown away before they could react. Especially Gerard, whose huge body of 300 meters was blasted several kilometers, good luck, while Kaido only stopped at the border where one person had reached. Whitebeard's air shock. This old guy is here too. Now it's fun. This is the world's top battle. Kaido was not hurt in any way, he was just a little embarrassed. After learning that Whitebeard had arrived, he roared. As for Gerald, he had not recovered yet. Being pinned down and beaten by Kaido was already a bit frustrating, but now that he was inexplicably blown away and injured, he naturally couldn't bear it. The moment of anger went to his head, making him a little dazed, but when he came back to his senses, he was furious. He was Gerald, the miracle power Gerald. How could he possibly be able to endure being punched away by such a bad old man? His self-confidence and self-esteem simply could not allow him to bear such anger. He needed to vent. Chapter 135 Complete. Gerald, please subscribe. Advertisement. Miracle. After regaining consciousness, Gerald roared angrily, and his whole body was filled with white light. However, he was only using the power of miracles to heal his injuries. As for continuing to grow, he could not do it now. The Sword of Hope, the Shield of Justice. Gerald took out all the equipment that had not exploded during the battle with Kaido. He was very confident in himself. He was confident that Whitebeard could not kill him or that he would not be defeated by Whitebeard. This kind of self-confidence is the source of his miraculous power. The premise of miraculous power is self-confidence. If you can't believe in yourself, your so-called miracle will naturally not happen. You are such a naughty brat. If you want to fight Lousy, you are still decades young, Kong Sha. When Whitebeard saw Gerald's movements, he clenched his fist again and swung forward. The space was once again shaken to crack, and this time Gerald blocked the shield of justice in front of him. But his huge body still couldn't block the aerial shock of Whitebeard in his prime, and he was knocked away again, but this time he was not seriously injured. Oops, Gerald's strength is no match for Whitebeard's 963. If this continues, he may be eaten alive. Masco looked at Gerald, who was constantly fighting with Whitebeard, and said, Gerald's strength is very good, but this guy is a bit stubborn. After all, he has to be full of unlimited confidence in himself before miracles can happen. Therefore, Gerard's character has been finalized from the beginning. It is inevitable to fight with Whitebeard at this moment, but Gerard is not Whitebeard's opponent at this moment. Wait, please tell him to stop quickly. Now is not the time to fight with Edward. Neptune is anxious. If you fight, just fight. Why would you hit one of your own people? Whitebeard is a super pirate who protects the entire fish people, and he is also Neptune's friend. Neptune doesn't want to see both parties die. Knock down. It's impossible. Once Gerald determines something, no one can stop it, not even His Majesty, otherwise his miraculous power will be completely useless. Bambietta spoke Kaido. Gerald is now in a dilemma. Once he gives up, the power of miracles will be destroyed. I am afraid that Gerald will live in the shadow in the future. ABBD, what on earth should I do? Neptune is almost crying, can't you be normal? If we continue to fight like this, let alone you, even the Fishman Island probably won't last long. Advertisement. Don't worry, Gerald will not die so easily. After all, he is one of my 4 bodyguards. While everyone was talking, Yang Feng and Barrow arrived. This attracted the attention of Marco and the others. The leader and the strongest fighting force of the Invisible Empire had arrived. Your Majesty, you are back. After seeing Yang Feng and Barrow, everyone in the Invisible Empire screamed in surprise. As Robin being left on the ship by you. But that's right, this kind of battle is not suitable for her to participate in. Yang Feng naturally guessed it after taking a look at Robin's absence. Your Majesty really asked about Robin as soon as he came back. Don't you miss me? Although it's only been 1 day, I miss your Majesty so much. Bambietta suddenly started talking non-stop, making Yang Feng's head grow bigger. Stop first. I'll help Gerald regain his strength first. If this continues, I'm afraid he will be beaten to death by Whitebeard. Looking at the extremely miserable Gerald at this moment, Yang Feng decided to deal with other matters later. At this moment, he should first help Gerald regain his strength. After speaking, Yang Feng ignored the others and directly used the system to absorb 5 devil fruits. After that, the 5 devil fruits turned into a white light and drilled out of Yang Feng's body and flew into the body of Gerald, who was currently struggling. This power is His Majesty's power. Has Your Majesty returned? Gerald was suddenly startled after feeling the abundant power in his body. You looked in the direction of Longgong City, and then you saw Yang Feng and Barrow, and Yang Feng made a gesture to him. Kid, what was that white light on your body just now? Seeing the glowing Gerard, Whitebeard subconsciously had a bad feeling, so he asked about it. As that white light, that is His Majesty's gift. So Whitebeard, the second round has begun. This time Lousy will not lose to you so easily. After speaking, Gerald rushed over again with the Sword of Hope in his hand. Advertisement. The second round. What a pity. I've had enough fun. Please leave now. After speaking, Whitebeard moved the Dogwan sword forward, and suddenly a huge white ball of light appeared on the blade. Shock knife. The Dogwan Dao was swung forward, and a huge vibrating force suddenly erupted from the blade. It was not as thick as a fist, but like a blade, and even the space began to crack inch by inch. PFF'd. Before Gerald could recover, he was slashed down by the huge space vibrating knife. His whole body became 2 halves and slid to both sides. I really don't know how the so-called brat, Butcher's strength can match you. Whitebeard didn't care at all about Gerald, who was already judged dead by him. At this moment, Gerald was not taken seriously by him at all. Miracles never end. Gerald said his last words, and then countless white lights enveloped him. The endless white lights illuminated the entire space, and the Fishman Island seemed to have turned into a sun. The white light soon dissipated, but many people's eyes were stimulated to tears and could not adapt to the previous strong light. What is this? Marco opened his eyes and looked at everything in front of him with a look of disbelief. His eyes almost popped out of his head. What did he see? He saw a super giant whose height was impossible to choose, looking at them expressionlessly. How is it possible? It can continue to grow, and what is this pressure? It is so terrifying that it is very difficult for us to support it. Beasta looked at the current Gerald with a horrified look. The current Gerald was even bigger than the previous 300-meter tall Gerald. Even when he stood up, he had covered the Fishman Island's air balloons. The support is deformed. It can be said that as long as Gerald makes a bigger move at this moment, the membrane over the Fishman Island will be destroyed, and then needless to say, the Fishman Island will be submerged and completely become history. Omniscient and Omnipotent appears immediately. Chapter 136 God's Power. God's Power, please subscribe. Advertisement. Complete Holy Body, the power of God. Gerald's size at this moment has completely exceeded everyone's expectations, and even his strength is the same. With such a terrifying size and the giant sword and shield in his hand, Gerard is like a god of war at this moment. And at this moment, as Gerald's body changed, the arrogant expression on his face gradually disappeared, as if a god was watching the gods. He seemed to be just a bystander, but this also made him more like a god. Hula la la la. I didn't expect to have such a fighting figure, but Lousy is Whitebeard, the invincible Whitebeard on the sea, and this is also Lousy's territory. Whitebeard roared, and he felt his heart start to beat again. Since Roger's death, his heart has gradually become colder. He doesn't care about the Pirate King, but he cares about his subordinates and his children. He calls these people his children, and he is also the most defensive among pirates. No matter who you are, as long as you dare to hurt my children, I will do anything, even rush into the naval headquarters. It's just that Whitebeard had too many hidden wounds at that time, coupled with his old age, was stabbed by his own son, and suffered many sneak attacks. That's why he became like that, and even Garp and Sengoku were defeated without taking action. I am Gerald Valkyrie, one of His Majesty's guards. Anyone who dares to stand in front of Your Majesty will be eliminated by me. As he spoke, Gerald swung the giant sword in his hand and slashed at Whitebeard. However, the giant sword was too big at the moment, so when Gerald slashed the sword, it was like a natural disaster, destroying an unknown amount of people in a wide range. Earth. Bang bang. Whitebeard slashed the giant sword and naturally made a decision to deal with it. He slammed his hands into the air, and suddenly the 2 spaces were shattered as if they were peeled off. But this is not over yet. Whitebeard grabbed the space with both hands and twisted the space forcefully. All power is useless in front of Lousy. Lousy is the strongest man on the sea, Whitebeard. The heaven and earth seemed to be stretched and twisted, and the entire space was twisted to a terrifying point like an Uzumaki. Even Gerard's sword of hope was forcefully twisted. Advertisement. Whitebeard is right, all power is useless in front of space. No matter how strong you are, unless you can smash space, you will not be able to deal with such terrifying space power. And Whitebeard has developed his fruit ability to the point where it can distort space. I have to say that this guy is really scary. Space is not something that ordinary people can control. At least Yang Feng has never heard of any space fruit. At most, it is a door fruit that can communicate with space, and can open the door of space. However, Whitebeard's power at this moment directly communicates with space using his own vibration power, to the extent of distorting space. PFF'd. Gerard's arm holding the giant sword was instantly twisted, but his wound did not flow out of blood, but emitted countless blue lights. At this moment, Gerard had transformed into a spirit sun, a giant the aggregation of souls. Individual strengthening, spiritual regeneration. Gerard roared, and the broken arm turned into a series of spirits that gathered at the broken part of the arm again. At this moment, Gerard was not afraid of death at all. As long as he believed in miracles, unless he was crushed several levels, he would not be able to survive at all. Just can't kill him. It's exactly the same as Kaido Kid. No, it should be said that it's more terrifying than Kaido Kid's recovery power. Even Kaido Kid can't do anything about this kind of resilience. Whitebeard looked at Gerard with a look of helplessness. This guy was just like Kaido, Xiaoqiang from immune to death. Suddenly, a lot of the turbulence in his heart was gone. It's like two people in a PK. One person has a stronger fighting ability and can obviously beat the other person, but in the end it is discovered that the other person has a blood medicine. This is how it feels, so Whitebeard is extremely unhappy. Alright Gerard, don't continue, otherwise the Fishman Island will be sunk by you. You have to wait until you get to New World. Then you can destroy it no matter what you do. Yang Feng also stopped him and said, Gerard's size is a problem, so hard that the entire island can hardly fit in it. If the barrier above the Fishman Island is really broken, everyone will fall. Very moldy. Hula la la la, that's right. We have to go to New World to fight again. This is the territory of my friend Neptune after all. It can also be regarded as my territory. We can't destroy this place. Zero please ask for flowers. Advertisement. Whitebeard was sensible and would not ignore anything, so he also proposed a truce declaration. Since it is His Majesty who has spoken, I will let you go this time. After taking a look at Whitebeard, Gerard's body began to shrink, and soon returned to a height of about 3 meters. He looked no different from a normal person. It's really a magical ability. It can shrink and enlarge its body at will, and it also has the characteristics of immortality. Plus that guy named Barrow, what kind of organization is this invisible country? Whitebeard glanced at Barrow and Gerard and then narrowed his eyes. The strength of these two guys really shocked him, but the most shocked person present was Garp. Garp was someone who had played against Barrow, so naturally know his strength. 0. But now there is another person who is not inferior in strength. How can I explain this? It is impossible to explain. Even Garp is confused. It's finally over. Although I don't want to say it, these two guys are really monsters. Everyone watching on the side couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. This was 10,000 meters into the sea. If the water really came in, everyone would be in trouble. After all, there were too many demon fruit powers here. Once such a huge amount of seawater pours in, all the demon fruit powers' abilities will be ineffective, and even Andy and others will not be able to escape. After all, seawater is the nemesis of every demon fruit power. The Fishman Island was saved, but this time it was really profitable. Neptune was not a fool. The Invisible Empire still lacked 2 conditions. As for the land they destroyed, it didn't matter at all. There was no one living nearby, it was just a forest. So Neptune felt that he had made a lot of money. It was a huge bargain to trade some functions for devil fruit in exchange for the blessing of an invisible empire with such terrifying strength. Moreover, there were also Whitebeard, Sherlock Linlin, and the battle was over at this moment. Then it will be his good days as Neptune. First guess even Marine won't dare to be arrogant with him this time. Chapter 137 The Ant Who Wants to Get Married. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Here we go again. This strength is just like Barrow back then. It has inexplicably grown to a terrifying level. His strength is obviously still very weak, but it has increased so much in an instant. What is going on? Quote. Garp stared at the people on the Invisible Empire side and fell into deep thought. The strength of these people had grown so strangely. They had grown to such an extent inexplicably, almost crossing different levels. But he could never think of Yang Feng's inheritance system. Let alone him. No one in the world could think of how he could improve the strength of his subordinates, but Devil Fruit might be able to think of it. Dad, are you okay? After Whitebeard returned to his own camp, the captains of his divisions gathered around one by one and asked with worried faces. Don't worry, 060, Lousy is Whitebeard. Although this kid is very strong, he can't hurt Lousy. Whitebeard said with an arrogant look, he has his own pride, he has his own character, he is invincible, even if he loses, he is mentally invincible, no one can defeat him mentally. But the growth rate of this invisible empire is indeed too fast. If it continues like this, it may become the second Roger, or it may surpass Roger's existence. Whitebeard was still frightened by the people of the invisible empire. After all, the speed of growth was too weird, and they had become super strong inexplicably. This was something he had never expected. Otherwise, in Whitebeard's eyes, these guys are not his opponents at all, and they cannot win by being huge. He, Whitebeard, has never done this. Whitebeard is also marveling at the invisible empire, while Kaido is now eyeing these people. In his eyes, these people should be able to kill him. Boy, we meet again, but you have quite a team now. Looking at the people around Yang Feng, even Kaido was a little envious. There were so many powerful people, but he only had 3 disasters, but there were only three disasters. 2 of his men were stronger than him. Kaido, when you said you were waiting for me in New World, you unexpectedly ran out by yourself now. But now is not the time for fighting. Go back to your home base. This place is not suitable for fighting. You want to fight us and fight again in New World. Quote. Advertisement. Yang Feng's meaning is very simple. This place cannot withstand a fight, so if you want to fight, go to the New World. Okay, in that case, Laozi will be waiting for you in New World. Don't run away then. These people under your command are Laozi's most promising people, and they are also the people who have the best chance of killing me. Don't let me wait too long. After saying that, Kaido rushed to the alley with Jack the Drow, where Jack's boat was, and he quickly left the Fishman Island. This madman finally left. I thought he still wanted to cause a war. Cracker couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when he saw Kaido leaving. Although today's battle was not long, it was a high-level battle. A single move could destroy the world and even the space. He really wanted to know what kind of scene would result if these people fought unscrupulously and without any scruples. Maybe the sea would really be destroyed. Cracker, do you think it would be successful if I wanted to marry someone from the Invisible Empire? Suddenly, Sherlock Linlin's voice reached Cracker's ears, and Cracker was startled. He then remembered that his mother was right next to him, and if this mother went crazy, he wouldn't dare think it was his son. Mom, do you plan to marry them? Bree asked a little confused. Of course, in my opinion, the people from the Invisible Empire are more terrifying than the people from Whitebeard's side. If I marry them, then my position as the Pirate King will be guaranteed. Sherlock Linlin said with a hopeful look on her face. She has been constantly getting married just to make her relationship network strong enough, and then become the Pirate King in one fell swoop. With all due respect, Mom, these people are all men except for a girl, and that girl is probably one of theirs. If they want to get married, they can only marry your daughter over. But these sisters don't seem to be beautiful, only your 35th daughter is better, but Pudding is still young and is of no use at all. Cracker said with an ugly face. Among the daughters of Sherlock Linlin, only Pudding looks pretty good, but she is like a snake at heart. The others have completely inherited the ugliness of Sherlock Linlin. Advertisement. For example, Pudding's sister Bree is like this. She looks like a witch. However, there is another general who is more beautiful, but is too big and is on the same physical level as her. Moreover, she will not sacrifice the general to do this matter. How do you know if you don't try? If we pull this thread, our power will be even more terrifying in the future. Sherlock Linlin said without giving up, and immediately started to take action and walk towards Yang Feng and others. Hello everyone in the Invisible Empire, I am Sherlock Linlin, the captain of the BIGMOM Pirates, and I want to discuss something with you now. Sherlock Linlin came to Yang Feng and others and said, but Yang Feng was stunned when he saw this scene. This guy wants to get married. Whitebeard on the side naturally saw this scene and knew Sherlock Linlin's purpose. At first, Sherlock Linlin wanted to marry him and give birth to a child with the most talented child in the world, but he himself rejected it. He is Whitebeard, so he will not marry anyone else, and he is also another big pirate. They are obviously using him as a spearman. Sherlock Linlin has dozens of husbands. Sherlock Linlin, what can I do for you? Don't reach out to hit the smiling person. At this moment, Sherlock Linlin is not looking for trouble, and he will certainly not ask for trouble. 3.7 He will not provoke others. The thing is like this, I see that your invisible empire has so many talents, so I want to marry you. Sherlock Linlin went straight to the point. It's really a marriage. Yang Feng complained silently in his heart, but on the surface Yang Feng did not change at all. Marriage, if the marriage between our pirate group and your invisible empire continues to develop, maybe we won't even have to be afraid of the world government in the near future. You must know that the strength of the world government is not comparable to that of Marine. Sherlock Linlin said that she knew a little about the strength of the world government, but not much, but she knew one thing, that is, the hidden strength of the world government was very terrifying. Chapter 138 Yang Feng's Ambition. Please subscribe. Advertisement. World government. I don't think so. The invisible empire I formed will not be defeated by just a world government. Moreover, the invisible empire will definitely be a dominant empire in the future, and it will be the largest empire in the entire sea area. Don't even think about it. Yang Feng said nonchalantly, there are only a few people in the invisible empire at the moment, but their combat power is already overwhelming. If everyone is here, taking over this world will not be a problem at all. Why should he join forces with a bad aunt? Auntie likes marriage the most. On the one hand, it enhances her own strength, but on the other hand, it is also because of her lack of self-confidence. Whitebeard has unlimited self-confidence, and he is the only one in the sea. The same is true for Shanks. Strength means everything. Confidence is self-confidence. He travels the sea on his own ship. Kaido is even more confident that no one can kill him. He acts recklessly on the sea and is not afraid of others at all. Only Sherlock and Linlin have been thinking about marriage. This is obviously due to distrust and lack of confidence in themselves, which is why they are like this. The strength of world government is not that simple. Marine is just a part of world government's strength. After all, world government's foundation is very strong and cannot be compared to Marine. It is impossible for your family to overthrow world government. Quote. Sherlock Linlin immediately laughed. She didn't expect Yang Feng to be so arrogant. Why on earth could the world government be able to stand for 800 years? Is it because there were no people with good talents in those days? On the contrary, there were many brilliant people in the past, but they did not announce the overthrow of the world government. Why? It was simply because their strength was too weak, so they could not overthrow the world government. I don't know how strong world government is, but I just know that if you join forces with someone who doesn't even have self-confidence, it will definitely fail, so let's forget about the marriage. It is impossible for Yang Feng to marry her people, because her people are too scumbag, all of them are ugly as hell. The only good ones are one of the generals and Pudding, but Pudding is probably still a little Lolita now. Another Zhongxing is too big, and he doesn't like the people on Auntie's side, especially Pudding. It's true that he is beautiful, but the question is, does being beautiful help? Her snake-like heart completely exposed her ugliness. Inwardly, she was the same kind of person as Auntie, but she had more skin to take off her clothes, so it was impossible for him to unite with Auntie. Advertisement. In that case, I won't be too presumptuous. Goodbye. The idea of marriage was rejected, and the aunt was naturally not in a good mood. Cracker and Bree both shook their heads. It's not the fault of others, but it's your own daughter's failure. Bree, open the passage and I'll go back to Cake Island first. As for you, bring everyone back to me, and I'll get some time to bring you over. The food reserves on Cake Island are already a bit insufficient. Sherlock Linlin said with a dark face, what happened today was a bit too embarrassing. His proposal for marriage was rejected by someone who didn't want to see it at all. Okay mom, I will open the mirror channel immediately. Bree was suddenly startled. She could tell that her mother was already angry, so she didn't dare to complain and quickly opened the passage to let Sherlock Linlin leave. I have long said that my mother's idea is ridiculous. How can someone marry us? It is simply impossible. But that little girl is pretty. Cracker glanced at Bambietta with a coveted look. Bambietta's appearance was indeed very cute, so Cracker was a little tempted, but after looking at the people around him, he took back his inner thoughts. However, not many people know what he looks like. His appearance is the secret among secrets. He ate the biscuit fruit and became the biscuit man. The strength frame outside is just condensed by him using biscuits. His physical combat power is strong enough. Even Luffy's arm was almost cut off by him when he was in 4th gear. This shows that this guy's strength is not an exaggeration. Okay, hurry up and go to the island to see if you can take away the Yangtze dessert. If you can take it away, leave here as soon as possible. These guys here make me feel a little bit in pain. Pudding said, and then Chunin began to rummage in the streets and alleys, trying to find the special candies of the Fishman Island. Sherlock Linlin has already left. Then we will take our leave. Advertisement. After speaking, Whitebeard glanced at Neptune and said this to him. As for Yang Feng and others, he didn't even look at them. What an arrogant guy, Your Majesty, let's chase them after we go out and deal with them severely. Gerald said with an unhappy look. Generally speaking, he despised others, and there was no case where others despised him. Yang Feng, who saw this scene, also pondered for a moment. Whitebeard was too arrogant, of course. Maybe it's confidence. So I don't take myself and others seriously at all, and I feel helpless for Yang Feng. This guy just doesn't take himself and others seriously, but what can I do? Do I need to care about your opinion? This is what Yang Feng has always thought. Lousy is not afraid that you care about me. What does it have to do with me whether you care or not? Edward, why don't you stay here for more than 10 years? We haven't seen each other for a long time. Quote. Neptune wanted to keep Whitebeard, but Whitebeard wouldn't stay any longer. If it weren't for the presence of several other people, he wouldn't have shown up. After all, his son's safety was his first priority. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future, Neptune. You should pay attention to the environmental issues near you now. These things will give you enough time to repair the Fishman Island for a few years. After taking a look at the almost disappeared sea forest and countless ruins, Neptune suddenly felt that the matter was indeed serious. If he didn't deal with it as soon as possible, he, the king, would probably be scolded to death. Whitebeard left, and Neptune looked at everything in front of him and found it troublesome, but it was just troublesome. After all, he was also the one who protected the entire the Fishman Island. As for reconstruction, there was still plenty of time. King Neptune, you should prepare the things our invisible empire needs. When Neptune was distressed, Gerald spoke up and asked Neptune to take out the devil fruit that he had promised himself and others. They would not have too many devil fruits. After all, there were still many friends who had not yet summoned them. Coupled with the huge number of 1,000 hanging on Yang Feng's system, to be honest, Yang Feng doubted whether there were so many fruits. Chapter 139. The Deal with Neptune. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Neptune doesn't dare to bargain with the invisible empire, but he has seen their strength. If he becomes unhappy and demolishes the Fishman Island, he will have no place to cry. And if Neptune doesn't cherish such a big backer, he will be the king of the Fishman Island for nothing. He will probably be betrayed the next day. If he doesn't take advantage of it, he will be called AB*****************. D. Here is the devil fruit that I promised before. It is also a good fruit that I collected in Longdong City. The rest of the useless fruits have been sold by us. Neptune looked at this relatively rare fruit and said, the Fishman island can move freely in the sea, and naturally they can find many things that others cannot find, such as the devil fruit that was reborn in the deep sea. Others can't salvage, or it's too difficult to salvage, but they can. Murlocs and mermaids are the darlings of the sea, just like they are on land, so no one can compete with them for the fruits in this area. Very good, King Neptune. In fact, we can continue to cooperate. Every year you work hard to collect devil fruit, and use your the Fishman Island strength to get 5 fruits in exchange for a chance to take action. Now we still owe you twice. If Whitebeard hadn't already hung his flag on Murloc Island 273, maybe we could have cooperated more happily, but that's okay. Devil fruit exchanges for our protection of you. You shouldn't feel disadvantaged in this regard. Bar. Yang Feng said, the power of the Fishman Island is very convenient to explore in the sea, and it can help him collect devil fruit. Of course, but not every devil fruit we find is as rare as these fruits, most of them are just ordinary zone and paramesha. Neptune said helplessly that he could find it, but the goods he found were not necessarily of high quality. In fact, in Yang Feng's eyes, they were all wrong. The power of the fruit depends on the developer. For example, Luffy, rubber fruit's power after development is not weak, but was it published before he ate it? No. Advertisement. Whitebeard's shock fruit and Golden Lion's lion fruit are all like this. If they are eaten by someone who is not strong in development, the consequences may be a shock. It can only shake a little bit of air. Lion fruit can only float a few hundred kilograms. Things. Furthermore, Yang Feng doesn't care about high quality or not. All he needs is quantity. The system doesn't care what kind of fruit you are. In the eyes of the system, the fruits are all the same, so you want to choose quality. The route was simply impossible. Quality is not an issue. I only need quantity. Each time I take action, I will get 5 devil fruits. It doesn't seem to be difficult for you, the Fishman Island. In addition, I will give you a discount. If Whitebeard is no longer here one day, then the Fishman Island I can help you bless you. Just kidding, Yang Feng knows the true identity of the unborn Shirahoshi, Poseidon. In terms of power, it is said that Uranus is the strongest, followed by Poseidon, and finally Pluton. Uranus claims to have the power to destroy the world, and Poseidon is the sea kings who rule the entire sea. Just the several kilometers of super sea kings around the Fishman Island are terrifying enough, let alone the entire pirate world. Now, how many sea kings exist in the entire pirate world is still a question. Poseidon's ability is almost like a natural super observation hockey, but it can allow sea kings to get close to them, so Poseidon's role is much better than Uranus and Pluton in some aspects. As for Pluton, it is said that it is a ship, and it is said to be able to destroy an island with one cannon. In fact, Yang Feng thinks that none of the top powerhouses today can destroy an island. Therefore, he is not very optimistic about Pluton. Among the 3 major weapons, the only ones he cares about are Shirahoshi and Uranus, who has never shown up. And from the news he heard in Mariajoy, Uranus seems to belong to the celestial dragons. The 5 elders have been planning Uranus for a long time. It is said that they made a contract 800 years ago, a bob, and they cannot take it by force. Yang Feng does not want to ask for trouble at this moment. His only idea is to complete himself. Once he inherits everything from Yhwach and directly moves the invisible empire over, these problems will naturally disappear. After all, strength is the most important thing in this world. With strength, anything can be said. Without strength, you just wait to be affected and die. If you don't need rare fruits, I can agree to this condition. Advertisement. I saw in Neptune that it cost about 1 billion to get a chance to take action in the invisible empire. The market price of devil fruit is over 100 million. Of course, it is normal that there is a price but no market. But he and Whitebeard are old friends, and Whitebeard's fleet is very large. It is not a problem to collect some devil fruit. He only needs to use money to buy it from Whitebeard. A rubbish fruit doesn't even require 200 million, so Neptune felt that this matter itself was not something worth spending a lot of time on. As long as you have enough connections and money, things like devil fruit will be easily solved. Well, happy cooperation. You should have our phone bug. Once you collect a certain number, you can contact our invisible empire. Yang Feng immediately laughed. It was another source of devil fruit. It seemed that unless there were not enough devil fruits in the sea, it would not be difficult to collect 1,000 devil fruits. Furthermore, there are so-called artificial devil fruits in the later stages of this world. Although he doesn't know if they can be used, he will not give up any means of obtaining devil fruits. But it's a little early to talk about this now. Brother Ming is not Shichibukai at the moment, nor has he occupied the country. The business is just a small show, continuously wandering on the edge of the new world. Brother Ming didn't dare to go in completely. In the new world, his strength at the moment was not enough. The consequence of going in would be that no bones would be left, so he could only stay on the edge and develop his own power. After thinking of this incident, Yang Feng hesitated. Should he look for Brother Ming? Should he look for him now or later? This is a question. Looking for him now would probably not be of much use. But it would take too long to find them in the future. In the end, Yang Feng decided to put this matter aside and wait until he made further plans before looking for them. He has more important things to do now, which is to make good use of the devil fruit in his hands. His strength has been slowly stretched by everyone in the invisible empire. As a leader, he can't be so cold. Chapter 140. 100 Fruits, The Inheritance of Yhwach. Please subscribe. Advertisement. The Logia Union fruit, the Logia Mumu fruit, and the Zone Cat fruit, Thunder Beast form, these 3 fruits are left to Belmir and the other fruits belong to me. Looking at these fruits, Yang Feng showed a very happy smile. This was the biggest harvest. He got a total of 114 fruits from celestial dragons, and later used 5 to enhance Gerard's strength. Now there are 109 pills left, plus the 10 pills Neptune sent, the number is 119 pills. After excluding the 3 pills left behind, there are 116 pills left. A new development of the system actually requires 100 devil fruits. This is almost all the inventory in my hand. I really have to throw it out before I can warm it up. Yang Feng is also helpless about this, but he has to do this. After the last inheritance, his strength has almost stopped in other aspects except Reiatsu, which can still increase, so he needs to carry out the next inheritance. But this time, what was important was not physical fitness, but devil fruit, and there were 100 of them as soon as he opened his mouth. Yang Feng was speechless to this. But there is no choice but to bite the bullet. After all, although he can become stronger if he continues like this, the speed of becoming stronger is too slow. Now anyone in the Invisible Empire can completely torture him after opening the holy body. As a leader, it is really shameful to do this. 100 devil fruits, don't let me down. Yang Feng opened the system interface and used 100 fruits directly. The 100 fruits turned into white light and disappeared. Yang Feng felt a pain in his heart. This was not Chinese cabbage, but devil fruit. 100 devil fruits, which caused a stir in the outside world, just disappeared. Anyone who saw this would find it unbelievable. 100 devil fruits turned into white light and disappeared, and then Yhwach's head slowly grew larger, and then a dark light shot out from it and entered Yang Feng's mind. As this, the inheritance from Yhwach, Yang Feng felt as if his consciousness was being pulled into another space. This place was very strange. He had never seen it before. He also knew that this was the fault of the system, but he believed that the system would not harm him. If he had been in danger, he would have been there long ago. Damn it, why wait until now? Advertisement. Junior, are you the one who inherits my power? Your strength is really too weak, but it is not bad to reach this level at this age, but it is not easy to become a truly strong person. A voice woke up the still dazed Yang Feng instantly, and then Yang Feng saw a back figure, and this back figure was very familiar. Yang Feng was naturally familiar with who this back figure was. Yhwach, you are not dead yet. Weren't you already killed by Kurosaki Ichigo, Aizen and others? The moment he saw Yhwach, Yang Feng was shocked. What should he do if this guy wanted to take his body? So Yang Feng immediately became more vigilant. Good alertness, but this is no longer needed. I have died a long time ago, indeed at the hands of my own children and Aizen, but my consciousness has been preserved and entered this space. Yhwach's words and tone also revealed curiosity about this space and a trace of unwillingness. By the way, Barrow and the others are all dead, but why don't they stand in front of me properly now? Yang Feng was relieved in an instant. Barrow and others had already well explained that death is not the end. I have died a long time ago, but I was unwilling to do so, so I was absorbed into this inheritance system. I can pass on everything I have to you, but I need you to do one thing for me. Help me eradicate the new spiritual king and occupy it. Soul Society. Yhwach's eyes were shining brightly as he spoke, and his multi-pupil eyes flashed with deep unwillingness. He was dead, but he was unwilling to accept it. He actually died in the hands of his own people. If it hadn't been for that silver arrow, he won't die at all. Of course you can. After inheriting your ability, you are equivalent to my teacher. If this is your wish, I can help you realize it if you have the chance. Yang Feng is also a bachelor. If Yhwach passes on his abilities to him, he will naturally be a disciple of Yhwach, so there seems to be nothing wrong with avenging Yhwach. And whether he can go to the Shinigami world is still a question, so if he wants to take revenge, it's too early. Advertisement. 0 request flowers. Ha 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 ha, you are worthy of being a person valued by the inheritance system. It is indeed good. In this case, I will completely pass on my accumulated experience over the past thousands of years to you. Please accept it well. After saying this, a trace of light flashed in Yhwach's omniscient and omnipotent eyes, and then a black light enveloped Yang Feng. Yhwach's abilities and tricks, and even various combat experiences, were constantly integrated into Yang Feng's in vivo. As time passed by, Yang Feng continued to absorb this information like a dry sponge, and the time inheritance lasted for several hours before it was completely completed. Junior, my power has been completely passed on to you, but you are not me. I hope you can still live your own life. By the way, I will also give you my old friend's things. If I used this thing back then, maybe it won't fail. Yhwach's voice became weaker and weaker, and then his body began to slowly dissipate until it disappeared into the entire space. The next moment, before Yang Feng could recover, he found that the world was spinning, and then he returned to where it was before. Those were just his conscious perceptions. At this moment, he had undergone earth-shaking changes. Your Majesty, it's time to eat. Bambietta came to Yang Feng and planned to ask Yang Feng to go to dinner, but the next moment she saw Yang Feng, she trembled all over. After that, her eyes showed deep disbelief. Your Majesty, your eyes. At this moment, Yang Feng's eyes have completely transformed into omniscient and omnipotent eyes. There is not only one pupil in his eyes, but multiple pupils. The omniscient eye, I just got it from Yhwach. He is almost equivalent to my teacher now, but his soul completely disappeared after completing the inheritance. You don't have to worry about whether I will become the same person as Yhwach. I inherited his strength and ability, but I am not him, I am still me. Of course Yang Feng knew what Bambietta was thinking, it was just that he was afraid that he would become just like Yhwach. Chapter 141 New Power, Ryujin Jaka, please subscribe. Advertisement. Have you not been invaded by His Majesty Yhwach's consciousness? It's really great. I thought your Majesty would be invaded by His Majesty. Now it seems that I thought too much. Bambietta breathed a sigh of relief after hearing Yang Feng's words. She really didn't know what to do if Yang Feng became like Yhwach. Although she was also loyal to the original Majesty, she liked this more. His Majesty. Little Bumby, look at whether Gerard was drinking on the deck and threw the bottle into the sea. Suddenly Yang Feng spoke, and Bambietta was stunned for a moment, but she quickly came to her senses. After opening the door and taking a look, Bambietta saw Gerard put the bottle away from him after drinking. Throw it out. Hey, it's true. As expected, the full-time ability is really useful. You can predict things that will happen before June 17th. Bambietta looked into Yang Feng's eyes with envy. Yang Feng saw part of Gerard's future. It is indeed a very convenient ability. In this way, almost the future is in my hands. However, I still need to further test this ability. Naturally, Yang Feng, who had just gained the ability, would not just do anything. His eyes flashed, and then a pen on his desk suddenly broke into 2 pieces. Hey, what's going on? Your Majesty, you obviously didn't touch it. How did you break this pen? Bambietta asked strangely for a while. This secret was only known to Yhwach himself, Yhwach and others, while others always thought that his ability was just to see the future. But his real ability is to change the future, and he can even change his own death in the future to achieve the purpose of resurrection now. I have to say that he is extremely pervert. The ability of omniscience and omnipotence is not that simple. Back then, Yhwach reserved a hand for you. His real ability of omniscience and omnipotence is to change the future. Even if I can't kill you now, I can also erase your future. Advertisement. Yang Feng explained to Bambietta that he would not hide anything from his own people, so he could just say it. What would happen even if he knew it? You must know that this world has never used a move like Holy Seal, and there are not many people who let him use Holy Seal. Therefore, there is no way to inhibit his ability, and naturally there is no way to defeat him. It can be said that Yang Feng is now immortal and cannot be killed even if he wants to. Moreover, Yhwach still has many abilities passed down to him. With Baku's strength, although his combat power at this moment is not as good as Yhwach's, but it's not far off. Coupled with the hockey and other tricks of this world, he felt that it wouldn't take long for him to surpass Yhwach. By the way, I remember just now that Yhwach said he left something for me. I just wanted to see what it was. Suddenly Yang Feng remembered what Yhwach left for him, and immediately entered the consciousness space. Having entered the consciousness space, Yang Feng saw something suspended in the gray space. It turned out to be this thing, but in the original work, he did capture the Zanpakuto of Yamamoto Genryusai Shigekuni, but I didn't expect that he retained it. That's right, what Yhwach left for him was a Zanpakuto named Ryujin Jaka, which Yhwach got from Old Man Yamamoto. But Yang Feng originally thought that the knife should have disappeared with the death of Old Man Yamamoto. He never thought that it would appear here. You must know that Old Man Yamamoto's knife is not a simple thing. It can even be said to be a world without care. It was destroyed. The temperature behind Old Man Yamamoto's sword Bankai is 15 million degrees Celsius, which is the temperature inside the sun. It is extremely terrifying. Once his power is fully released, it will be the end of the world. None of the 3 major weapons can compare with this thing. Bar. However, Old Man Yamamoto's sword is also restricted. No one dares to use it without any scruples, because the world cannot bear it, and the enemy may be dead before he can eliminate his own people. Therefore, this knife has been restricted. Even Yang Feng will not open this restriction, because once it is opened, it will not distinguish between friend and foe at all, and it may even hurt one of our own, so it is better to be careful. Since the inheritance system has given you to me, then I will let you shine in this world. What nonsense lava fruit. This time I will let that red dog know what absolute temperature 0 is. Advertisement. Looking at the Ryujin Jaka in his hand, he could already imagine the scene when Akainu was stunned. At that time, Akainu probably would not have thought that there would be such a terrifying flame. Even Shikai's 6,000 degree heat is not something his magma can withstand. However, this thing cannot be used casually at this stage. Let's find an opportunity to test its power. Yang Feng felt that he should go to the New World to practice with those big pirates. With the strength and ability he had just acquired, he couldn't restrain his heart. Soon Yang Feng left a chaotic consciousness space. To be honest, his consciousness space was like this and he didn't even know why. Ichigo's in Shinigami was an upside-down building. Other people's inner worlds also have their own scenes. But his is the only one that is chaotic and gray. You must know that even the darkest place in Naruto's heart in the Hokage world is the sewer, but his is nothing. Yang Feng doesn't feel that his consciousness is nothingness. After all, he is also a thoughtful person. He is really not used to such a gray area. Your Majesty, what happened to you just now? No matter how I called you, you ignored me. 2.7 Bambietta asked with a look of dissatisfaction. In her eyes, Yang Feng was in a daze for no reason just now, and then he couldn't call me no matter what. Nothing works. Okay, it's not a big deal. I just went to the consciousness space and took out the things that Yhwach left for me. I just didn't expect that it turned out to be this thing. After saying that, Yang Feng had an Odachi sword in his hand. The blade was extremely simple. After all, it was something that had accompanied Mr. Yamamoto for 2,000 years. Naturally, it felt like it was withering. Ryujin Jaka, I didn't expect it to be this thing. When His Majesty Yhwach fought against Shinigami for the first time, he was defeated by the owner of this sword. It wasn't until the second time that Bankai was captured. I didn't expect that His Majesty would actually get it. Here. Bambietta was also surprised. Ryujin Jaka actually showed up. Chapter 142 New Equipment. Please subscribe. Advertisement. I have all the inheritance of Yhwach, not only omniscience and omnipotence, but also all other tricks. At this moment, I no longer need to be obsessed with bows and arrows. Taking a look at the silver bell arc bird in his hand, Yang Feng let out infinite emotion. He had completely inherited Yhwach's abilities through 100 devil fruits. In addition to his pair of omniscient and omnipotent eyes, Yhwach's own strength was also extremely terrifying. So what he needs at this moment is to slowly understand these abilities. In the original work, in addition to omniscience and omnipotence, Yhwach has many abilities, such as divine destruction. As the ancestor, Yhwach can control its size at will to fight the enemy. In addition, he has defensive skills such as static blood equipment and dynamic blood equipment, and his various abilities to control spirit children. As the son of the Spirit King, Yhwach is born with the ability to get close to spirit children. Being close to the Spirit Sun allows him to control the Spirit Sun at will, and he can use the Spirit Sun to build the building he wants. This is how he built the Palace of Hueco Mundo, and he can also make the Spirit Sun burn to deal 01 super high damage. It can be said that Yhwach is like a Spirit Sun in human form, and his use of the Spirit Sun is superb. By the way, since the abilities have been updated, are there new equipment as well? He had been coveting the Quincy's various equipment for a long time, and unlocking the equipment step by step made him happy. After opening the system, all the equipment is unlocked, and the most conspicuous ones are naturally a black knife and some metals, which Yang Feng is no stranger to. The black sword, black body and white blade is the sword of Yhwach. Compared with the General Quincy who condenses bows and arrows, his weapon as the ancestor is just like a black sword, called the Quincy cross blade. This sword is comparable to Shan Laodu's Ryujin Jaka. Two swords, do you want me to play the two-knife style? Yang Feng doesn't know how to use a sword, but Yhwach understands that his realm has been accumulated over thousands of years, and it is far beyond the great swordsman in this world. But the problem is, these things are stuffed in one after another. He had trouble adapting. Therefore, if he wants to fully understand it, it will probably take 1 or 2 years. This is a person's memory for thousands of years. It is good for him to fully understand it in 1 or 2 years. Advertisement. However, Yhwach's kendo is just playing with a sword, and of course it remains true to its roots. As long as Yang Feng understands his memory thoroughly, then the so-called two-sword style will naturally not be a problem. Just like Zoro, he is a three-sword style swordsman, but he is able to skillfully use one-sword style and two-sword style when facing enemies, and even plays the no-sword style. This is the saying that one method can lead to all methods. The Quincy cross blade is good, but what use does this thing have in this world? Staring at the pile of star medals in front of him, he couldn't help but narrow his eyes. The function of the star medals in the world of Shinigami is very simple. When Shinigami Bankai is taken away from its Bankai ability, Shinigami and even Shikai cannot be used. More than 60% of Shinigami's strength is above the battle sword. No matter how Grandmaster Kido or Grandmaster Kendo is, the battle sword will always account for the largest proportion of Shinigami's strength. However, there is a drawback to Star Metal being able to capture Bankai, that is, after capturing it, you cannot use the complete holy body, and the power of the complete holy body will be limited. The Ryujin Jaka in Yang Feng's hands is unknown for some reason. Maybe Yhwach is too powerful. Therefore, it did not disappear after the death of Yamamoto Genryusai Shigekuni, and it could not limit Yhwach's power, so it remained until now. However, what Yang Feng doesn't understand now is what the function of this thing is. The only Zanpakuto in the world is in his hand, so it can't be used against him, right? Since the inheritance system includes this thing, it will naturally have its role. Wait, it's not used to seal Devil Fruit's abilities. Yang Feng glared suddenly. If this thing could really seal Devil Fruit's ability, it would be invincible. Demon fruit power generally rarely cultivates the body, and even if it cultivates the body, it cannot compete with those who specialize in body training. Because they need time to develop their fruit abilities. As the saying goes, there are no garbage fruits, only garbage users. Whitebeard, Golden Lion and others have developed their fruit abilities to the limit, so they have such an effect. Compared to Shinigami's Zanpakuto, they even have a greater proportion of power above Devil Fruit's ability. However, Yang Feng still needs to test it carefully now. If so, then these people are scum in front of him. Advertisement. Of course, he is not very clear about what else is hidden in this world, so even if his strength exceeds that of Whitebeard and others, he will not be arrogant and relax. There are too many secrets in the world, and there are too many things waiting for him to unlock. Due to the appearance of the star metal, Yang Feng planned to find someone to test it. As for demon fruit power, Neptune should have it here. Of course, he was referring to the prisoners imprisoned by Neptune. Demon fruit power. There are indeed some in the cell, but what do you want them to do? Neptune asked with a puzzled look on his face. If they were planning to recruit, they wouldn't even believe it if they killed Neptune. There is no need for this, they are already strong enough now. Don't worry about it, just give it to me. I'll be useful. How many people with fruit abilities are there in total? Yang Feng asked. The Fishman Island may not have many people with this ability imprisoned here. Not many, only 5,420 of them. They were all invited by the human traffickers to capture us mermaids, so they have been locked up in the cells of Dragon Palace City since they were defeated by us. It's not that Neptune didn't want to kill them, but he was stopped by Princess Otahime. Princess Otahime has always wanted to coexist peacefully with humans, but is this possible? It's simply impossible, because your population base is too small. As the saying goes, things are rare and valuable, unless your entire mermaid clan has the same base size as humans. In this case, fish people and mermaids are no longer rare items, and naturally they are not valuable. The reason why they are valuable is because they are too rare. Give me all 5, and I'll treat it as if you gave me 5 devil fruits, no problem. Yang Feng doesn't care about his own conditions. The conditions for the Fishman Island are actually very simple. Neptune will not provoke anyone. As for the others, they are human traffickers and some blind pirates who come back to provoke them. So Yang Feng's condition is to send him away, but how useful are you? In addition, this is Shirahoshi's hometown. In the future, Yang Feng plans to draw Shirahoshi to his empire. Furthermore, he plans to build an invisible empire and wants the whole world, and this place is no exception. There seems to be nothing wrong with protecting his territory in advance. Chapter 143 Star Chapter Test Open Black Lens Bracket Please subscribe Close Black Lens Bracket. Advertisement. I really don't know what these people want with these demon fruit powers. But as long as they don't let them go, that'll be fine. Shark Star brought 5 power users wearing seastone handcuffs to the residence of Yang Feng and others, and quickly handed these demon fruit powers to the shadow guards, and then left. As for what they were doing, he was not interested at all. In his eyes, these people will become the protectors of the Fishman Island for some time in the future, and naturally they will not do anything to harm the Fishman Island. After all, there is motivation only when there are interests. Your Majesty, according to the information Neptune gave us, these fruit ability users are all from Zone and Paramesha. 3 Zone and 2 Paramesha, and they are not very well developed. It can only be said that they can fight against the enemy in front of them. Bambietta has completely become a secretary-like existence at this moment. As the saying goes, if a secretary has something to do, you all know what he does if nothing happens. However, it will take a few years for his current small body to be able to do anything, so he can only do it now. Watch. Thank you for your hard work, little Bumpy, you put this thing on first. After speaking, Yang Feng handed the star medals in his hand to Bambietta, 1 for each person. This was the standard issue of the Star Cross Knights at the time. It would be useless to have more. A person can only store a handful of Zanpakuto abilities in his body. There is nothing you can do about it. Star, Your Majesty, why did you give me this? Bambietta asked with a puzzled look on her face. She was naturally not unfamiliar with the star medal. After all, she had used this thing to capture Sajin's Zanpakuto in Hakumura, but there was no Zanpakuto now. That's right, Star Badge, activate the Star Badge and use it on these guys. As he spoke, Yang Feng pointed to the 5 demon fruit powers, and these ability users immediately stopped working. Although they are prisoners here in Neptune, they have good food and drink, and they will not starve to death. They are free, it's just a bit restrictive. Originally, they thought Neptune was planning to let him and others go, but they didn't expect that he was going to use them for experiments. What do you want to do to me? Lousy tells you that there are people from the auction house behind Lousy, but they are the assets of celestial dragons. If you dare to do anything to Lousy, Lousy will definitely kill you. Frightened and angry, some people began to threaten, but Yang Feng laughed on the spot. It's a pity, if your background is celestial dragons, I just killed 2 of them a while ago, even Marine can't do anything to Lousy, why does Lousy care about you cannon fodder? Advertisement. Yang Feng said cheerfully, what about celestial dragons? Lousy killed celestial dragons, not to mention you cowards. Impossible, the celestial dragons are the nobles of the world. The celestial dragons you provoke will definitely be executed by the celestial dragons. Naturally, they didn't believe Yang Feng's words. After all, if you provoke the celestial dragons, the Marine will definitely bring Admiral to come. Admiral has been in trouble since then. Generally speaking, provoking the celestial dragons is equivalent to poking a hornet's nest, and you will die this time. Thing. Forget it, I'm too lazy to talk nonsense with you. There's no need to answer you. Little Bangaby, let's do it. Yang Feng said nonchalantly, they are just prisoners and cannon fodder. Even if they don't die now, they will be released as cannon fodder after staying in the cell for more than 10 years, so they can be regarded as waste. I understand, Your Majesty, I won't let you down. After saying that, Bambietta pointed the star medal at a person, and suddenly a black light shot out from the whole body of the person and entered the star medal. Click. Seeing this scene, Yang Feng broke his seastone handcuffs to pieces. This scene happened so suddenly that all 5 people looked confused, but the person who was let go soon finally came to his senses. What did you do to me? What kind of black light did you get just now? Answer me, otherwise I won't be polite. As he said this, the guy made a strange posture, but this posture would not bring any changes. How is it possible? What about my abilities? Why can't I use my abilities? After maintaining this posture for a few seconds, the fruit ability user's face finally changed drastically. The devil fruit ability could not be activated, but compared to Seastone, it was not suppressed, but actually disappeared. Let's go out and test other things. As for these, Masco, I leave them to you. Just seeing Masco passing by, Yang Feng directly handed these guys over to Masco's custody. Although they were wearing sea-stone handcuffs, they could still run away, right? Of course, they wouldn't be afraid if they ran away. The Quincy was looking for someone. But using Reiatsu is just more troublesome. Soon Yang Feng took Bambietta and the guy whose ability was taken away from him to the entrance of the Fishman Island. The ocean could already be seen here. Yang Feng didn't leave any ink and just threw this guy away. Go out. Advertisement. Woo. The prisoner who entered the sea began to struggle continuously, and even kept fluttering his arms. It seemed that he would not lose strength. Devil Fruit's ability has completely disappeared. Little Bumpy, can you still use the holy body now? Yang Feng asked. Whether Devil Fruit's ability can completely suppress the holy body is also a question. I can't. My holy body was restricted the moment the ability was absorbed. Bambietta said, and shook her head to show that it couldn't be used at all. Sure enough, as long as the ability is absorbed, it cannot be used. It depends on what will happen after this guy dies. Yang Feng condensed a small spirit arrow in his hand and instantly pierced his head. The unlucky guy died immediately. It has not disappeared. The ability is completely sealed in the star metal, but it cannot be used on others, and even I cannot use it myself. Zhao Lihao, unlike Shinigami's battle sword, Bambietta even if the fruit ability is taken away, it cannot be used. This thing is completely sealed in the star metal and cannot be called. 0. Then can it be released? Yang Feng asked. Okay, but I don't know what the effect word will be after it is released. Bambietta couldn't control this energy, and she didn't know what it would look like after it was released. Don't worry about anything, just release them directly. There are still a few experimental subjects that we can't wait until we enter the new world, and then we can capture some ability users for testing. Yang Feng said nonchalantly, just kidding, there is no shortage of demon fruit power in the new world, it's just that the fruit is hard to find, but in front of humans with such a large population base, accidents will happen, such as being eaten by mistake. So it's easy to find people with abilities, but it's not easy to find fruits. Chapter 144 The new source of devil fruit. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Bambietta released the devil fruit ability in the star metal, and then the devil fruit ability turned into a black light and rose into the sky, instantly disappeared in front of the two people, and rushed out of the Fishman Island. Sure enough, this breath is the embodiment of devil fruit's ability. It is rumored that devil fruit will choose a new place to be reborn after the death of a person with abilities. Two identical fruits cannot exist in the same world. Seeing the breath disappear, Yang Feng naturally guessed that he was looking for a place to be reborn, and Bambietta's perfect body was also restored at this moment and was no longer suppressed. Go back first, then it's my turn to experiment. After Yang Feng finished speaking, he took Bambietta back to his residence and found the other 4 people. These 4 guys didn't see the person who was taken away by Yang Feng before, so they naturally knew what happened. Yang Feng didn't give them a chance to speak, so he used star metal on one of them. After that, his eyes turned into omniscient and omnipotent eyes. His holy body could be activated, but he said that the so-called devil fruit ability could not be activated. Suppress him. Immediately afterwards, Yang Feng activated the star metal again, and a black light entered 347 behind the star metal at a time, followed by a third one, and after the third one, he found that he could not absorb it. His ability has reached its peak and he can no longer suppress any more abilities. I almost understand. Only I can ensure that I can continue to activate the holy body after seizing the power. However, these abilities cannot be used either. This thing is only useful against people like Whitebeard. In this regard, Yang Feng felt that this thing was like worthless food. It was a pity to throw it away because it was tasteless because the power inside could not be used. It was almost useless to deal with people with fruit abilities stronger than himself, but the people here were all admiral. People who don't know how much the level exceeds will naturally not care. Your Majesty, what should we do with these people? Since Yang Feng had finished the experiment, Bambietta naturally asked. Kill them. Keeping them is a waste of food and pollutes the air. These guys are just scum. Among the people Yang Feng hates most are traffickers. These guys will do anything for profit and have harmed countless people, so if they die, they will die. Advertisement. No, don't kill Abif me, I have a treasure map, I have money, just let me go. Before he could say anything, he had already lost the qualification to continue talking and was killed directly. Soon several people were killed, and Yang Feng also directly released the ability in the star metal. The 3 black lights of Duntu quickly disappeared. The effect of the star badge has been basically tested, but it is not of much use to Barrow and the others, but it is still okay for you. If you face people of Whitebeard's level, you will directly absorb their abilities. Quote. Star metals are useless to the truly strong, but they are naturally useful to admiral-level beings like Bambietta. The leapfrog challenge is not a problem. If you lose your biggest reliance, failure is just a matter of time. Dong dong dong. Just as Yang Feng was speaking, there was an anxious knock on the door. They both subconsciously sensed it with Reiatsu, and then they knew that the person who came was Robin. Robin, what's wrong? After opening the door, Yang Feng looked at Robin and asked. Generally speaking, Robin would not come to her. She always likes to read alone and be quiet. Look what this is. Suddenly, Robin took out a fruit from behind. The pattern on the fruit told everyone that it was a devil fruit. Devil fruit. Where did you get it? Yang Feng was confused the moment he saw the devil fruit. Now he is very sensitive to the devil fruit. One of them appeared inexplicably. No matter how he looked at it, he felt there was something wrong. Just now when I was reading a book, a black light shone into my room, and then one of the fruit bowls on my table turned into this. This was the first time I saw the formation of devil fruit. Robin held the devil fruit and said, she was also shocked just now. She was tired from reading and planned to go for a walk and visit the Fishman Island, but suddenly a black light shot out from the wall and entered among the fruits. At first she thought it was an enemy, but she was soon shocked. After the black light shone into the fruit, the shape of the fruit changed, and then it turned into this devil fruit. Advertisement. Wait a minute, did you just say that this thing was transformed by a black light shining in? Yang Feng felt that his brain was a bit insufficient. Both he and Bambietta were very familiar with black light. Isn't it something released from their star metals? That's right, it's just a black light. Robin said with a puzzled look on her face. She didn't understand why Yang Feng and Bambietta were so shocked. Is this necessary? It seems that the true function of the star metal has been found. After taking a look at the star metal in his hand, Yang Feng said with emotion, there were 4 black lights in total. One was released by Bambietta, but it had already left the Fishman Island, and he didn't know where it went, and then he released it. 3 ways. One of the 3 is to enter Robin's room and find new fruit to parasitize. The formation of devil fruit is random, which means that if there are enough varieties of fruits here, the possibility of parasitism is greater. Yang Feng already knows a new way to collect fruits, which is to use star metals. As long as there are enough fruits, then if you collect the abilities of these guys and then kill them, the abilities will naturally find new parasites. Robin, you are really good news to us, so let me ask you a question now. Do you still need your flower fruit ability? Or do you hate it? Yang Feng asked. His meaning was very simple. Once Robin didn't want it, he would take it away, and then teach Robin about the Quincy's abilities. After all, a person's energy is limited, and it would be very difficult to do both. He now has the ability to sow seeds, and his blood can open the door for others to enter the Quincy, so he took this opportunity to ask Robin what he thought of the ability. My ability. I don't hate it. I have always relied on it to escape danger in my escape career after the age of 8, so I am very grateful for it, but I don't need it. It makes me lose my ability in the big world. Opportunities to travel at sea. Robin glanced at his hands as he spoke. He already had a backer. He just wanted to concentrate on research. Moreover, she couldn't swim at the moment, which meant she lost a lot of fun. Really? So if I were to give you another kind of power, would you choose to accept it? Yang Feng asked himself a new question. Chapter 145 Spiritual Space. Please subscribe. Advertisement. I always felt that Robin's ability was weird, with so many hands, so I took this opportunity to change it. Anyway, there is nothing bad about the Quincy's ability. If you don't like it, don't criticize it. It's just a personal preference. New power. What power is it? Robin glanced at Yang Feng in confusion, wondering what the so-called new power was. The new power refers to our power. You should have discovered during this time on the ship that everyone's ability system is almost the same, but their abilities are different. These abilities are the same as any ability on the sea, all different. Yang Feng said, except for Robin, all the people on the 3 ships are from the Invisible Empire. Everyone's power system comes from the Quincy. Everyone is a Quincy, except Robin. I see, no wonder. I have always been surprised that you all have special abilities, but I am the only one who is afraid of the sea water, while everyone else can travel through the sea at will. So this is 11. Robin suddenly realized that she had already felt that she was incompatible with the abilities of the people around her, but she felt that this was not a problem, as long as she was a companion, so she would not go to too many places even though she felt strange. Ask. Because she only needs a companion, and other things are not a problem at all. So now I give you a new choice. You can give up your power to learn our power. Now I have the ability to let you learn our power. Yang Feng said that after inheriting all the abilities of Yhwach, his blood has turned into tiger bomb. Only one drop is enough to lead people to the door of the Quincy, and it can also open their holy text. Everyone's holy words are different, representing their different powers. This is also a treatment only available in the Star-Crossed Knights. After opening the body, this power can be completely released. If possible, I would like to get rid of Devil Fruit's power and learn your power. Robin said very simply, in order not to use so many hands, the author must be considered shameless. Very good, then let me control this ability. Maybe I can find a way to destroy it in the future. Advertisement. After speaking, Yang Feng activated the star metal in his hand, and a jet black light shot out from Robin's body and submerged into the star metal. At this moment, 1/3 of the space in Yang Feng's star metal was filled. And this force was directly suppressed. This is the black light just now, it turns out to be Devil Fruit's ability. After seeing this black light, Robin finally realized. It turned out to be the light of Devil Fruit. No wonder there was an extra Devil Fruit among the fruits on the table. I have taken away Devil Fruit's ability for you. For the time being, you are just an ordinary little girl. Of course, you have some fighting ability. After all, you have learned hockey, so it's time to get down to business. After speaking, Yang Feng condensed a spirit knife and stabbed his finger, and a drop of blood soon appeared on Yang Feng's wound. Drink this drop of my blood, and I can help you unlock new power. This is a must. After Yang Feng finished speaking, he stretched out his finger in front of Robin, and this scene was extremely weird. It looked like a scene that only appeared in movies. Robin naturally blushed, and in the end he could only sleep on himself. Let yourself think that the guy opposite is just a little kid. You are older than him, so you don't worry at all. After a drop of blood fell into his stomach, Robin turned his little face away from his head, not daring to continue staring at Yang Feng. However, the effect of this drop of blood soon came into play, and Robin was quickly pulled into him. In the spiritual world. How is it possible? It's O'Hara, and everything is intact. This is impossible. Robin looked at everything in front of him in disbelief. What on earth is going on? Robin, there are only you and me here. This is a reflection of your inner world, and it can also be regarded as the true scene of your inner world. You are the master here, and I am the one who helps you grow. Yang Feng appeared in Robin's spiritual world. No, to be precise, the person speaking at this moment was not Yang Feng, but a clone of Yang Feng. This clone is naturally caused by Yang Feng's power, represents the existence of Yang Feng's power, and is also the prerequisite for Robin to start the path of Quincy. I'm coming in. If that's the case, let me explain it to you. I'll leave first. Advertisement. 0 Please give me flowers. After saying that, the clone Yang Feng turned into little bits of blue light and disappeared into the spiritual space. At the same time, Yang Go entered Robin's spiritual world from another one. Who is this and what is going on? Robin asked with a puzzled look. This doesn't look like a normal thing. To explain the ultimate point, first of all, this is your spiritual world, which is the deepest reflection of your heart. That is to say, you have never forgotten O'Hara, but have remembered it tightly, so your spiritual world will be like this. It's the model. The second point is about the clone just now. The clone just now is my power. The reason why it stays in your body is to open the door to power for you. Otherwise, you will not be able to become a Quincy at all, so my blood it's the most essential. 0. The last point is that this power will not disappear at will. Unless you die or I die, you will always have this power. But don't worry, although it is my power, it will not disappear because it is in your mental space. So he cannot interfere with your final decision, he can only point you to the way forward. Who knew he had a clone? The clone's function is very simple, it is to plant the seeds of power, and he can take it back at any time. Once he takes it back, you will die. This ability is famous for being holy. Does this mean that this is actually my own inner world, the place I have always longed for? Looking at this world, Robin no longer knew what to say. If it weren't for the so-called books, O'Hara would not have become a ruin. But seeing this scene, she realized that she was wrong, and she still loved this place deeply. All the fault lies with the world government. It is because of the world government that O'Hara became like that. So she does not hate these scholars, nor does she hate the books. She hates the world government for everything. It is all the world government's fault. Yes, the next step is to fully develop your holy text. Lei Feng was very curious about what kind of sacred text Robin would come up with. Chapter 146 Robin's Holy Words. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Ability and visionary are a bit repetitive, but let's leave it at that. The potential is greater. After all, power comes from knowledge. The opening of spiritual space is the most initial existence of our power. Both Shinigami and Quincy have the ability to open up spiritual space, and spiritual space is something that everyone has, but it is just not opened up. There is no power to help them open it up, and even if it is opened up, it is useless. So how should we study next? Robin asked. It's very simple, but it's not here, but outside. This is just the source of your strength for future cultivation, and it's also the medium for practicing Reiatsu. Without this medium, you can't cultivate our emperor. After saying that, Yang Feng left, and Robin felt dizzy for a while before returning to the outside. The first time he entered his own spiritual world, he was so uncomfortable, but he would slowly get better in the future. Your spiritual space has been opened up. Next is the power of the holy words. Each of us has our own power, such as the explosion of Bambietta, Barrow's all-encompassing power, and Gerard's miraculous power. Quote. And you naturally also have this kind of power, but this kind of power is completely different from others. The next step is to see what your ability is. After Yang Feng said this, waves of Reiatsu gathered in his eyes. Through the development of his blood, he could see Robin's holy words. After opening up the spiritual space, this power was fully revealed. I see, that's a really good ability. Robin, your holy character is K, which means knowledge, also known as knowledge. Knowledge is the source of your power. The function of knowledge lies in the spirit of speech and fantasy. Your power comes from the knowledge in your mind. How to develop it depends on your own understanding of knowledge. This is fantasy, and the second is the spirit of speech. You can release your fantasy through the spirit of speech. Quote. Now you can try your abilities, but one thing you have to pay attention to is that you don't have a lot of Reiatsu now, so it's best to think of something smaller. Once it exceeds your body's limits, you will be counterattacked. Advertisement. Yang Feng thinks Robin's holy text is very good. As the saying goes, knowledge is power. Fantasy and words can completely materialize non-existent things. I have to say that this is a very magical power. Explode. After thinking for a while, Robin spoke, and the target was naturally a table. She said, explosion, to the table, and she had both fantasy and words. Boom. Even though he had just become a Quincy, all the Reiatsu combined together made the table explode, and the power was probably within a range of 5 meters. Very well, Utopia and Word Spirit have been realized, but there is another problem that you need to strengthen your own strength. We have an explosion mode called Perfect Holy Body. This is a skill that can only be activated when you have a certain level of strength. Once you activate the complete holy body, just like everyone else, your strength will skyrocket. The same is true for you, but you are still too weak to activate the complete holy body. Knowledge is a very good ability. Now you may feel exhausted after blowing up a table, but in the future your achievements will be more than just this. Maybe you can reach the level of creation. Yang Feng said, but he also reserved a little bit, whether there are limitations to this power, and if there is endless growth, will it affect time, but it is still too early. Even Yang Feng is right, there is no way around this. I know, I will exercise this power well. A serious expression appeared on Robin's face. This power was stronger than she imagined. Dreamer Yan Ling, a table exploded inexplicably, but this trick did not work for everyone. It's like asking the current Robin to kill Garp. Is it possible that Garp will die? It's simply impossible, so there are certain limitations. If the strength exceeds too much, it will not be able to affect the enemy itself. It can only affect the enemy around. For example, after Robin becomes stronger and says to an ordinary person, "You are already dead," then this guy will naturally be killed by Reiatsu. But for people of the same level or higher level, the higher the level, the more dangerous it is. This is just a small realm. She might be able to make him waste a little bit, but if he did it, it would cause a backlash. Advertisement. And it cannot be used on others. For example, if you ask Garp to die, he will not die. On the contrary, you will be in bad luck. You can only use cleverness at certain times. For example, a trap or something will appear under your feet, which is weird and unpredictable. 0. Your Majesty, her abilities are quite good, and she has even reached the level of becoming a personal guard. Bambietta kept watching. She was also envious of Robin's abilities, but abilities cannot be obtained with envy. She already had an explosion herself, so naturally she couldn't get other abilities. Even if they get it, it is not suitable for them. It may be powerful, but it will definitely not be too powerful. Don't envy her. After all, her power has been something she has endured since she was a child. However, the power of knowledge is indeed very good, but she is still too weak now. She needs time. Maybe she can become a Knight of the Star Cross in many years. A bunch of them. Robin Yang Feng is also very optimistic about her. In some aspects, her abilities have even surpassed the abilities of the 4 major guards. The combination of fantasy and spirit is completely weird. Suddenly there is a knife on your head, or there is explosives buried on the ground, or there is a trap or something like that. Human energy is limited, so naturally it is impossible to be on guard at all times, so it is very strange. The opponent is completely defenseless and will probably be taken down in a matter of minutes, or will be left in an extremely embarrassing situation. Be prepared. We are about to enter the new world. There is no use in staying here. It is better to go to the New World 2.9 to find information about Brother Ming. Yang Feng has obtained some information about Doflamingo from Neptune, but this is the Fishman Island after all, not other intelligence agencies, so it is difficult to locate and know that Brother Ming has arrived near Dressrosa at this moment. But now Brother Ming doesn't dare to act openly. He is a celestial dragon's, yes, but his Skyman identity is gone. He is just Doflamingo. Even Crane Vice Admiral can chase him away in the sea, so he doesn't dare to attack a country rashly. Maybe when he becomes Shichibukai, he can start to implement his plan. Becoming a Shichibukai is actually getting a token of immunity from robbery, so naturally he doesn't take Dressrosa seriously. Chapter 147 Fear and Dreamers. Please subscribe. Advertisement. After opening up the Quincy bloodline for Robin, Yang Feng handed him over to Barrow. He was also taught by Barrow. Although he now has the memory of Yhwach, it is only part of it. The so-called teaching part is really number. So he could only hand over Robin to Barrow. In some aspects, Barrow's teaching ability was indeed good. Of course, the most important thing was because he was calm enough, and his calmness made him a good teacher. After that, Yang Feng and others set sail. The 3 warships headed towards New World and left the Fishman Island. They finally left, but their time on the island really made people feel very at ease. The Fishman Island has not been so quiet for a long time. Neptune looked at the leaving warships and sighed helplessly. If the Invisible Empire made the Fishman Island its own territory, the effect would probably be better. Neptune believed that as long as the world government does not show its trump card, there is absolutely no way dealing with the Invisible Empire. But this is already Whitebeard's territory. Unless Whitebeard dies, this is still Whitebeard's territory after all. Oh, one, he is not an ungrateful person. Whitebeard protects the Fishman Island because of him. Your Majesty, maybe this is the route we can take to start the friendship between humans and mermaids. I believe humans will definitely become our friends. Princess Otahime said with hope, while Neptune felt that his tooth hurt. He really wanted to complain, can you not do this? There is a relationship of interest between humans and mermaids. Do you think they are so easy to get along with? But Princess Otahime is his wife after all, so he can only laugh twice. There is only one thing on his mind, and that is to protect the Fishman Island, and that is enough. As for living in peace with humans and creating a harmonious society, Neptune said that he was powerless, so he just let it go and let the future king have a headache. But then again, the future king seems to be his son too. Neptune has had enough of cheating his son like this. Okay, for the time being, we won't have any big problems on the Fishman Island. If something goes wrong, the Invisible Empire still has 2 chances to take action. Neptune held the phone in his hand with endless confidence in his eyes, and soon he spread the news. He did it on purpose. He just wanted to let everyone know that he was protected by the Invisible Empire, and no one could unable to shake. Advertisement. In this regard, Yang Feng said that he did not know, but even if he knew, he would not have any opinion. Even if you, Neptune, are not afraid of being implicated by me, will I still be afraid of this thing? It is impossible. At this moment, Yang Feng has already started a new summoning. He wants to summon 2 people at once. Originally, he planned to summon 3, but after thinking about it carefully, he missed 1. 5 at a time, 6 at a time, and 7 at a time, the total is 18, and the ones he can use are exactly 17. As for the other 3, they are reserved for Belmir and the others. It was also a multiple choice question. He needed Belmir and others to give him the answer. Should he choose Devil Fruit or the Quincy's ability? The good thing about Devil Fruit is that it can be elementalized, even the Thunder Beast form of the Phantom Beast species can turn into Thunderstorm. But becoming a Quincy can awaken their most suitable abilities. Soon Yang Feng completed the summoning, but this time the 2 people summoned were not one of the guards or Yhwach and Yhwach, but they were also not cannon fodder. One person's name is Ace Not, and the holy text is F, which means fear. This is a person who can even be crippled by Byakuya Kuchiki. Of course, you will die in the hands of cheating Rukia later. When he hits Bankai, it will directly enter your soul. This is so sour. Cool. In fact, Yang Feng thinks that the strongest ice and snow type should belong to Rukia. Even if Toshiro successfully completes Bankai, it is not as shocking as Rukia. The other person is a bit embarrassed. His name is Grami Tomu, and his holy text is V, which means visionary. His abilities are somewhat similar to Robin's. But his body is just a brain. Once it goes beyond the scope of his imagination, he will die. For example, this guy imagines that he is better than Zaraki Kenpachi, and then he will die. On the contrary, Robin's knowledge is not like imagining how powerful he is, but like a curse, or a kind of blessing, and there is a certain difference between the two. Ace Not. Grami Themius. Meet your majesty. Advertisement. After the 2 came out, they also knelt on the ground. After taking a look at the 2 of them, Yang Feng felt that the 2 were definitely brothers. One only had his brain left, and the other had burns in his eyes. Both of them felt a bit scary. But the strength is good, even a little higher than Bambietta, but not necessarily now, because Bambietta has learned hockey, so the 2 of them have some problems, and Grami is stronger than Not previous point. It's called Not here. It would be the same name if it were called Ace. Everyone, get up. From now on, we will all be companions. You go find other people to understand the situation in this world. In addition, Grami, after you understand it, go find Barrow. The little girl Barrow is teaching now and your ability very similar, you can also help me train. Originally, Barrow was the best teacher, but things changed once Grami appeared. Naturally, 050, a dreamer's teacher, is also a dreamer. Although Robin is not a dreamer but a knowledge, it's almost the same. I understand, then we will leave first. After saying that, Not and Grami left the cabin and came to the deck. Ha 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 ha, someone came to report again. Let me see who it is this time. Oh, it's actually 2, Grami and Not. Yes, at least they are not those useless guys. Gerald said arrogantly, his strength has reached a terrifying level. In the original book, the reason why they were able to be resurrected was entirely because these people's power was taken back, so they became stronger. But it's different now. He and Barrow's strength has completely reached its peak, and they can completely crush everyone else in the Star-Crossed Knights except for the other 2 guards and Yhwach, Ishida Yuryu. Gerald, so what I hate most is your character. It's too arrogant. Grami said with a trace of disgust on his face, but to be honest, Gerald's power is indeed a bit disgusting because it is too arrogant. But there is nothing that can be done about it, because his ability is a miracle and requires absolute self-confidence. Naturally, there is arrogance, so it becomes like this. Chapter 148 World Government's Actions. Please subscribe. Advertisement. As you can see, these people from the Invisible Empire are getting stronger and stronger, and they even have a tendency to vaguely surpass many pirates. But who can tell me where the bear has gone? Why didn't he show up on the Fishman Island? Quote. The person who spoke was naturally the boss of the Revolutionary Army, Godlike. He had previously sent Big Bear to the Fishman Island to meet Yang Feng and others, intending to draw Yang Feng and others into his camp, but in the end Big Bear never came to the Fishman Island. Fishman Island. Chief, you can't blame Big Bear. When he went there, he happened to encounter a ship belonging to the World Government CP organization, so he was blocked back. The cadres under him responded helplessly that Big Bear had indeed gone, but was blocked by others on the way. Originally, if the World Government CP organization saw ordinary pirates, they would not take care of it, but this time it was different. Dashong was already one of the big pirates in the first half of the Grand Line, so much so that he was blocked by CP people before he even reached the Fishman Island. Dashong couldn't expose the headquarters of the Revolutionary Army, so he kept leading these guys on the Grand Line. Playing at sea. They are from the World Government again. In this case, I will go there personally. The Invisible Empire has reached a certain scale now. Entering the new world will definitely be watched by all organizations. In this way, their whereabouts are very easy to locate. After saying that, Long put on his coat and walked out. It seemed that he really wanted to go by himself. Not to mention the Revolutionary Army, the collision between the Invisible Empire and the big pirates at the Fishman Island naturally made the headlines. However, this information was basically isolated from the world, and the world was not clear at all. After all, the people in the 4 seas are too weak, so these top-level information will not be released to the 4 seas, that is, only important notifications will be released. As for big pirates and other bounties, they will generally not be released. Red line, Holy Land Mariajoy in the Central Palace. Please express your opinions on how to deal with these little bastards. Moreover, I have no clue about the theft of the treasure house this time. It was stolen and I can't find out who stole it. The blonde 5 elders said with a helpless look. The treasury was stolen and they were almost exhausted, but they couldn't find who did it, so now they are all helpless. Advertisement. Let's solve the matter of the Invisible Empire first. You have all seen the current development of the Invisible Empire. It has reached this scale. I guess even Garp, Sora, and Yu Ming, I made this up, can't take it down together. They are. Curly Hair 5 Elders attaches great importance to the Invisible Empire. In his opinion, it is already a very powerful force. In this case, let's send a few more people over with the risk of exposing our trump cards, and catch them all in one fell swoop. You all know the time when the Invisible Empire rose. It's only been so long. According to the news from Garp, their strength has grown too fast. Already. Kimono 5 Elders said with a serious face, and these words also reminded others that the growth rate is indeed too fast, and many times a few super strong people will appear inexplicably, and they have never seen them before. In this case, let's expose our trump card and strangle them in the cradle no matter what. Their behavior has begun to threaten the rule of the world government. If you are not careful, they may be another D family. The long-bearded 5 elders spoke, and everyone nodded immediately. As for the mustached 5 elders, he didn't say a word. He didn't know why he felt like they were going to have problems this time. According to their route, they should be heading towards Dressrosa, which means we can stop them there and kill them all for the future of world government. The blonde 5 elders spoke again. If that's the case, then send a few more people. Garp and Sora are indispensable. We'll use the hidden power of Vice Admiral and Senzon to send there. Coupled with Marine's power and CP organization, we should be foolproof. Quote. It has to be said that 5 elders spent a lot of money this time. Garp and Sora can hold off Gerald and Barrow, as well as 2 unknown people, Ming and Chenjon, as well as other Marine and CP secret organizations. This kind of terrifying lineup has probably never been heard of in the entire sea. It can be said to be extremely terrifying, but they don't know that Yang Feng has already added 2 more people. Basically, dealing with Marine and CP is not a problem. As for the 4 guys, 1 each for Barrow and Gerard, and then Yang Feng. Yang Feng has obtained all the power of Yhwach at this moment, and even the Zanpakuto of Old Man Shan. How could you be afraid of them? Advertisement. Soon the world government directly announced this time's arrest order, launching a comprehensive hunt for the entire Invisible Empire. All Marines set off directly, not through the bottom of the sea, but directly from Mariajoy. After all, those who come this time are all the elites among the elites, the strongest among the strong. The Marines basically came out in full force, even more terrifying than the previous one, so that at this moment, except for Sengoku, there was no existence beyond the Admiral level in the naval headquarters. Even the Admiral level no longer exists. Now if a big pirate attacks naval headquarters, it might be possible to take down the entire naval headquarters. This action also shocked everyone. Everyone was very puzzled. Is Marine going to commit suicide again? He obviously lost miserably last time, but he still wants to go this time. In response to this, Sengoku said that he and others were completely righteous. They were just careless before, so this time they will succeed immediately, but this is nothing more than his rhetoric. How dare he act like this without the backing of the world government? However, he was also acting under orders, but in the end, the King of Death had to be good. Who was it was a question. Marine is marching towards the red line in a mighty manner, and the power above the red line is also ready. This is the meaning of the 5 elders. Let Sora and the others hide among these people and hold on. Then he deliberately released the news so that the people in the Invisible Empire would not take it seriously, and finally he would catch them all and take down the entire Invisible Empire. But is this possible? What they can think of can naturally be thought of by others. If Marine wants to fight against the Invisible Empire with such great force, do they think they are idiots? Yang Feng and others said that they are not idiots and come back to fight after losing. One reason is that there is something wrong with their brains and they were caught in the door. The other reason is that there is something fishy inside. Sengoku is not an idiot, so the answer is obvious. As long as a normal person can see that there is something fishy in it, and it is also announced, this is obviously something that I would do. Chapter 149 Ryujin Jaka Blade Spirit. Please subscribe. Advertisement. Your Majesty, do you think there is something wrong with Marine's head? He actually used such obvious tactics to deal with us. Do they think everyone in the world is an idiot? Bambietta couldn't help but laugh when she read the contents in the newspaper. It would take several days for Marine to come from the headquarters, but the news was different. It spread all over the sea casually. Yang Feng and others naturally also read it. Arrive. Don't worry, they are just a bunch of clowns. If it were before, I might be a little worried, but not now. My power is no longer something they can peep into. Yang Feng couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. He had been hiding behind his subordinates. He felt very uncomfortable. Now he is finally better. With the power of Yhwach in his heyday, he is not afraid of anyone in this world. Because no one can kill him, no one can. He can resurrect himself, which is simply stronger than Xiaoqiang, and his strength has reached a weird level. Okay, little Bangabi, you go out first. I'll communicate with Ryujin Jaka's sword spirit. I haven't taken care of him for so long. I guess he can't sit still. Yang Feng did not communicate with Ryujin Jaka after he got it, which means that the current Ryujin Jaka has no redeeming qualities except that it is a little harder. It is basically just a good knife. And Yang Feng has been carrying Ryujin Jaka with him for the past few days. Ryujin Jaka will shake from time to time, probably because he can't wait. Yang Feng is naturally funny about this. Others are communicating with the sword as soon as possible, that is, how could he be so calm? Of course, it's not that he is indifferent, but he doesn't have time. He has been sorting out Yhwach's abilities in the role of the previous test star. In short, he is still very busy, so much so that he has ignored Ryujin Jaka. After Bambietta left, Yang Feng sank his consciousness into Ryujin Jaka, but after entering, his first reaction was heat, extremely hot, extremely hot. There were flames everywhere in front of him, and here was the flame. World. Ryujin Jaka, is this a show of force? Do you plan to suppress me first? Yang Feng asked funny ly, is this the legendary meeting gift? Advertisement. No, this is my true body. The endless flame is my true body. Even Yamamoto cannot completely release my flame. Ryujin Jaka's voice is very old, like an old man, but the fire in it Yang Feng cannot treat him as an old man. Since it's not the case, forget it. You should know the purpose of my coming. Yang Feng asked as he looked at the endless sea of fire. Of course it's clear that the only people in this world who can use Reiatsu are you Quincy. Although I can't go out during this period, I can understand the world from your conversations. I have to say that this world is really magical. Ryujin Jaka's voice was still the same as before, but he showed no trace of surprise at the changes in the world. Now that it's clear, then give me your power, you know I have the qualifications. Yang Feng stared at Ryujin Jaka and said, you naturally have this qualification, and if I want to go out, I must get your permission. Since Yamamoto died, I have been in the hands of Yhwach, and all my senses have been sealed. Even I am not used to this feeling. Shikai's power can be handed over to you at will, but Bankai's power is not yet dead. The time you have been in contact with me is too short. By the time you fully master Shikai's power, of course I will give it to you. Don't let me down. I am very yearning for this wonderful world, and you also know the characteristics of Zanpakuto. Chat with me often. Bringing the Zanpakuto with you can strengthen the connection between us. That was the case with Yamamoto back then. Now you can go out. After saying that, Yang Feng was forcibly kicked out of the fire world by Ryujin Jaka. Yang Feng was speechless about this. Other people's Zanpakuto were A-bag in their spiritual space, but his was better, living directly in the sword, and this the flames, to be honest, are really shocking. No wonder the old man turned Zanpakuto into a crutch and held it in his hand at any time. It turned out to be to strengthen the connection. Advertisement. Yang Feng was also speechless about this. He originally thought this guy was showing off, but he didn't expect it to be this way. But Shikai's power has been obtained, and we are not far away from Bankai. Don't worry, I will make your name resound throughout the world. It's a pity. It would be great if the Quincy cross blade also had its own sword spirit. Quote. I don't know what to say about the cross blade of annihilation Yang Feng. Originally, there were very few weapons of Yhwach. Even old man Yamamoto's Ryujin Jaka couldn't be destroyed. It was naturally a good thing. But perhaps because Yhwach's character is very suspicious and cruel, it makes no sense for such a good weapon as the cross blade, which is just a very tough knife. But even so, it has the characteristic of not being burned by Ryujin Jaka, which shows the power of this sword. Recently, Yang Feng has been studying the art of swordsmanship. To be honest, Yhwach's attainments are not shallow. After all, he is someone who can fight with old man Yamamoto. Needless to say, old man Yamamoto's swordsmanship is absolutely super strong. It is beyond the reach of ordinary people at just 2,000 years old. And Yhwach's kendo is very simple, it is the sword of domineering. Yhwach does things in a domineering manner and does not give people a chance at all. Therefore, the sword is also called domineering kendo, which means two words, domineering. No matter what you are, whether it is an ant or a giant dragon, what he upholds is domineering, domineering with no past, domineering with no fear of anything. It's simply scarier than Hawkeye. This is Yang Feng's understanding of domineering swordsmanship. It's better to say that Eagle Eye has practiced to a great swordsman and became the world's greatest swordsman, although he is still a little behind. Hawkeye's swordsmanship can be said to be sharp, extremely sharp, as if it can cut through anything, and even the gaze becomes a sword, reaching a terrifying level of swordsmanship. Even people of the same level will feel wary when they see it. Incessantly. Each great swordsman has his own characteristics, the sharpness of the eagle's eye, the thickness of Fujitora, and even the ever-changing Zoro that is beginning to take shape. None of them are simple things. And his nature is domineering, but not cruel. There is a lot of cruelty in Yhwach's swordsmanship. No matter how hard he practices, he will probably become the second Yhwach, so he still wants to slowly eliminate this cruelty. Chapter 150 Dressrosa, please subscribe. Advertisement. Sure enough, the revolution has not yet succeeded. Comrades still need to work hard. It will take at least half a year to fully grasp their power. After contacting Brother Ming this time, it is time to find a place to rest for a while. In fact, Yang Feng was also helpless. How long had he been out at sea? He had encountered so many things. He had basically encountered the big forces on the sea that he could have encountered, and he had also encountered things that he shouldn't have encountered. After communicating with the sword spirit, Yang Feng continued to sort out these battle experiences and so on. His current state was like a happy and huge dry sponge, and he couldn't wait to absorb the water. Dong dong dong. The time soon approached evening, and there was a knock on his door, and he naturally woke up from sorting out his memories. Come in, Barrow, what's the matter? Yang Feng asked subconsciously. Generally speaking, Barrow and others would not come to him when he was practicing unless something happened. Your Majesty, we have arrived at Dressrosa, but it seems that the people on the island don't know that we are from the Invisible Empire. Barrow said after opening the door. I don't know. That's right. We don't even have a flag yet. But for the flag, let's use the 5-pointed star of the Invisible Empire. No, the 5-pointed star is too simple. Let me change it to a 6-pointed star, and make it black, and the background color of the chess pieces. Red, that's it. Yang Feng suddenly remembered that he and others had no flag all the way here. The other pirate groups always made their own flags as soon as they went to sea, but until now, he had no one. Okay, Your Majesty, I've taken note of it, so will Your Majesty enter Dressrosa immediately? According to the information from the Fishman Island, Doflamingo should be nearby. I guess he has already set his sights on this country. Barrow nodded and said, advertisement. Let's go, just in time to see what Dressrosa was like before it was occupied. It just so happens that I also have an ability that needs to be tested here. After saying this, a smile appeared on Yang Feng's lips. As for Brother Ming, he would not let this be D mess around here. He had regarded this place as his first base. Soon Barrow and others followed Yang Feng and left the warship and came to the shore. Their unreserved appearance naturally shocked everyone. How is it possible? Why do people from the Invisible Empire appear here? Are they going to start a war with Marine here? After being stunned for a while, someone finally spoke up. The Invisible Empire's reputation is so loud now that everyone in the New World probably knows about it. The shock of these people did not hinder Yang Feng and others, and soon Yang Feng and others entered the town. The people on the shore naturally went their separate ways. There were people from Brother Ming and King Liku's army. After all, it was such an island as big as a palm, so it was necessary to monitor it. Dover, people from the Invisible Empire have landed here, should we avoid them? After all, these guys are not easy to mess with, and Marine is expected to arrive soon. Marine will probably be out in force this time. Torbal looked at Brother Ming, who was sitting bold and grandiose in front of him, and said that he had received a call from his subordinates, saying that someone from the Invisible Empire had logged in. Invisible Empire. Don't worry, I have a hunch that they are coming to find me. After all, there is nothing good in Dressrosa. By the way, how is the search for op fruit? He is still more interested in op fruit. After all, the ageless surgery is something he has coveted for a long time. However, it is said that people who eat op fruit cannot perform the surgery on themselves, which is really ironic. There is no news. The search for op fruit is too difficult. Even the world government has offered a bounty of 4 billion Baileys, but it still hasn't appeared. Torrebel said with a droopy nose, this guy is actually the one who shaped Brother Ming, gave him string fruit, and taught Brother Ming how to become a cruel person. Advertisement. In the end, Brother Ming killed his father. It can be said that he basically brought Brother Ming here. When he was a child, he saw Brother Ming release Conqueror's hockey. He was sure that Brother Ming would become a big shot, and he kept on Brother Ming. Spend money. The Don Quixote family can be said to be a very contradictory family. Brother Ming, a member of the family, loves him very much and even gave up his position as Shichibukai for them. This shows that he is really good to his own people. Zero, please ask for flowers. Yang Feng didn't dislike this kind of cruelty to outsiders but kindness to his own people. Of course, this was without regard to other circumstances, but he couldn't stand what Brother Ming did in Dressrosa. I don't know how many tragedies were caused by Ming Jie. Of course, they were also caused by Ming Jie's experiences since childhood. The feeling of falling from celestial dragons is not something that everyone can bear. So after being tortured, this guy turned dark. As his strength grew, Yang Feng found that his attitude towards these lives had changed a bit, and he became indifferent. His current mentality was that if his relatives and partners were attacked, then it was none of his business. Just like Luffy, he will do things not for everyone, but for someone to get rid of him. This is a very simple truth. He only recognizes family and friends. This is Luffy's characteristic. Op fruit, take your time to find it. At present, you are trying to find a way to get the ownership of this country. By the way, how about those children with good potential that I asked you to find? I will speed up their appearance time for the sake of the plot. I know it will basically take a few years before it appears, but let's forget it in advance. Brother Ming was wearing fiery red sunglasses, and it was hard to tell what he was thinking. I found a little bit, but the potential is not very high, but I seem to have heard information about the childlike fruit ability user, which is located in Dressrosa. I have sent people to check it out. If it is really the childlike fruit, the plan can be executed very well. In the original work, Sugar is 22 years old. According to Baidu, it was more than 10 years ago now, that is, around 6 or 7 years old. There must be no miscalculation. Again, it is a little early. Torbal told everything he found out. Childlike fruit. Interesting and interesting. Once touched, it will turn into a toy, and even the memory in everyone's mind will disappear. Unless the person with childlike fruit ability is frightened and fainted or killed, it cannot be released. Quote. Brother Ming couldn't help laughing after recalling the power of the childlike fruit. He was also very interested in opening the childlike fruit.